So, this is an intro for episode 34, and it's kind of a bummer of an intro that I have to do, because I made a huge mistake. Um, this episode is supposed to be 3 hours of Jason and I just talking about movies, stuff we've seen, stuff we're excited about for the rest of this year. And I was really excited because I got myself a new camera. The built-in camera on my laptop has a white balancing issue that would, auto-adjust the brightness of stuff, and that was really annoying me in these episodes. So I bought myself a nicer camera, but I didn't take into account when I set everything up that it was then going to record double audio from other sources. So over the course of these 3 hours of talking, my audio is fine because it's recording just through the microphone here. But Jason's audio was being recorded through the recording software I use, as well as the speakers on my laptop were playing his audio, and that got picked up by this microphone also. So there's a doubling of Jason's voice with a minor delay to it, and that sucks. It's something that I've tried de-reverbing it as much as I can. It is just one audio track, so it is not something where I can do any type of shifting or fixing in that way, and it's really kind of upsetting. A big mistake that I made, not thinking that was a problem, not testing it. I just hooked up the new camera and went with it because I was happy with the way it looked, and didn't think about the microphone aspect of it. So it's a huge mistake that I made, and it makes this episode much more difficult to listen to. I've done my best with the audio. I've tried to de-reverb it as much as I can to make it not as bad of an echo in his voice, but I mean it's still there, unfortunately. It's kind of quiet. I've done the best that I can with it, but when Jason talks, you gotta fight through the fact that there's a small underlying echo of his voice. So probably gonna make this pretty hard to listen to. But Jason said he understood if I wanted to just scrap the whole episode, but we recorded it. We didn't have a script. We hadn't talked to each other in 2 weeks. We ended up talking for 3 hours. And so I don't want to scrap it, but I also know that we won't, re-record that 3 hour session. So I'm going to put it up with the best I could fix audio. It sucks. I'm not proud of it. I'm not happy about it. But I also didn't want to completely scrap what we did last night. So the rest of this episode gonna be pretty difficult to listen to. If you give it a shot, I appreciate it. Like I said, we talk about a lot of movies and have a lot of good conversations. We talk about the Snyder Cut. We talk about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We talk about a lot of the movies that are on the upcoming release schedule. We talk about a couple of things we've been watching recently. It's a lot of fun content as far as I'm concerned. So hopefully some people can make it through, at least part of the episode or whatnot. So, and we also drank some good Sun King beers and some Arizona beer. So, yeah, if you can suffer through it, I appreciate it. If not, I completely understand, and we'll make sure we do better next week. So, wanted to put that disclaimer at the beginning of this episode, and apologize that I am delivering a less than good quality product this week. So, sorry about that, guys. Welcome to episode 34 of Shane Talks. I am joined, as always, by Jason L. Bayer. Tonight is going to be a little bit different from any other podcast that we've ever done. I've been in Arizona for the last week. I really didn't have any time to write a script, or Jason and I never decided on a topic for tonight. So what we're actually going to do is just sit around and talk about the upcoming movies from this year, stuff we've watched recently, and just kind of have a regular movie discussion like we would have on any other normal time that Jason and I were hanging out. So we have no idea where this is going to go. We're going to look at some release dates and what's coming out and talk about if we're excited about it or not. As I said, I've been in Arizona for the last week, and while I was in Arizona, I went and picked up some Sonoran white chocolate. Probably one of my favorite beers from Arizona. It literally tastes like melted white chocolate. It's really light, really refreshing. It's deceiving because if you look at it, it is pretty clear, not very dark or anything, but it tastes like liquid chocolate. It is absolutely delicious and so good. The second beer that I'm going to drink tonight, because it apparently is a thing where I double fist it every week now, but Jason and I are both drinking our King's Reserve Velvet Fog from Sun King here in Indianapolis. It is a quadruple that is then bourbon barrel aged. It's supposed to have some fruity notes, and I remember it being a really strong cherry beer. Jason's already had some of it tonight. I haven't drank any yet tonight, but he's telling me he's not getting the cherry so much this year.
But I will say, first of all, this is one of the very few bourbon aged barrel beers that I actually will drink.
Nice, that's good to hear.
I always drink some of it, but I'll probably finish this entire bottle tonight.
Good.
I ate dinner quite a while ago.
Uh huh.
I don't know what the ABV is on this, but I think I might be feeling it already.
Nice. Yeah, that bourbon barrel aging probably, and it's a quadruple, so it's probably pushing over 11, 12%, somewhere around there probably. So you should probably be feeling it as we go on tonight. So like I said, things are going to be a little different today. One thing, we are recording this on Wednesday, March 31st.
The day
before opening day for baseball. Yeah, tomorrow's a big day. But sadly, as our friend Jay Hampton reminded us on Facebook today, reminded everybody, today is the anniversary of the death of Brandon Lee. So I want to say it was 93, was it? Yeah, 93. So March 31st of 1993 was the day that Brandon Lee unfortunately got shot during the filming of the movie The Crow. So I just wanted to take a quick second, talk about Brandon Lee and The Crow real quick, because there's only 2 movies that he's ever made that I've seen. The Crow is one of them, and the other one was his Showdown in Little Tokyo with Dolph Lundgren.
Dude, you never saw Rapid Fire?
I did not see Rapid Fire, and I'm sure Jay.
Rapid Fire is so good. It's a classic B action movie. Think of like a Jason Statham, essentially.
Okay.
That kind of movie.
Powers Booth is in it?
I just enjoy it. It's nothing great. It's just, it was fun and entertaining when I watched it.
Early 90s action film? Like
Showdown in Little Tokyo is so bad.
Yeah, that was...
Rare, isn't it? So, you can't go wrong.
So I really enjoy The Crow, and I'm very sad about all the stuff that happened with Brandon Lee. I remember watching a really cool documentary. I can't remember if it was on the DVD or if I caught it somewhere else, but it explained how they finished the scenes that he still needed to finish, like how they used his sister for one of the scenes and put her in his makeup, and then just put his face over her body or whatever, because apparently she had a very similar body style to him. But I just always thought it was really cool how they were still able to finish the film. It was one of those first ones where I remember knowing that he died on the set, and that I knew like CGI was involved in making sure they could finish the movie.
Well, and to be completely honest, I think it might be one of the very first stylistic comic book movies too.
Sure.
You have stuff like Sin City, 300, and things like that that Frank Miller inspired or whatever, and those take very heavy stylistic approaches to them. But I remember this being something with I can't remember who's the director. You would know it right off.
Oh, you would think I would.
Dark City. He did Dark City. Oh, jeez.
Alex Proyas.
Yeah. So he very stylistic in his approach to movies. I think it works really well. The guy who plays the main bad guy,
Michael Wincott.
What was that?
Michael Wincott.
Yes. Is that
he's from Robin Hood? Yep. Guy of Gisborne.
Dude, he's awesome in this film. What's really interesting to me about him is I can watch him in everything, right? Even when he was in a bad movie called Alien Resurrection. He's playing Malcolm Reynolds, but it's still really well done. So I really like him as an actor, even though he's kind of one-dimensional for the most part. But his gravelly voice is just the best.
Yep.
And, he's just awesome. So I love him, but like Ernie Hudson's in this movie.
Yes, he is. Biling.
The guy who was in The Warriors is in this movie. Like,
I'm not sure who that is.
He's T-Bird. The guy who did, like, originally with The Warriors, he was the one who was like, Warriors, come out and play.
Yeah, David Patrick Kelly.
Yeah, that guy. So he, but yeah, like, the movie's just solid all the way across.
Oh, yeah.
Watch it even now, and still really enjoy it, even though it's dated. It's somewhat dated.
It's somewhat dated.
But it's awesome, man.
Yep.
It's pretty much a classic film. So,
and also, yeah, also very. I don't think I ever actually made the connection that Alex Proyas directed both of those movies. Like, I think I knew. I mean, obviously, I knew that he did, but like, once you mentioned it, I'm like, man, those movies, Dark City and The Crow, have the exact same stylistic look. Like, the city is very dark. The light is very bright. Like. Yeah, The Crow is just one of those really good action revenge movies that I've ever seen. Like, the plot's really good. And Brandon Lee's character, Eric Draven, doesn't even really need to talk a whole lot. Like, he is just a menacing figure when he comes into the room, and his personal story is a really fun one to enjoy watching him kill bad guys.
Oh, absolutely.
So, yeah. So, just kind of wanted to make sure that... Oh, yeah, you're definitely right. So, yeah, just wanted to make sure that because of what today was, and since we didn't really have anywhere to start with, I thought we'd always bring that up. So, a shout out to Jay. He put up a couple of posts today about Brandon Lee. I know he's a huge influence in his life and his, I wouldn't say spirituality, but I guess spirituality, like the Buddhist concepts that Brandon Lee empowered and stuff like that. So, really, we just wanted to bring that up. So, have you watched any? Oh, well, I got a story about something I watched this week. But have you watched anything in the last 2 weeks?
I have. I have gotten into the show Kingdom.
Kingdom. Okay, I don't.
It's the Sons of Anarchy, but with an MMA gym.
Really?
Club.
What is it on?
Who's in it? The main character, Nick Jonas is in it. Frank Grillo's in it.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of who else.
Is it on a streaming platform?
It was a direct TV original that is currently on Netflix, and it's only on until the end of May.
Okay.
They did 3 seasons, but the 3 seasons in total are 40 episodes. It was 10 episodes, 20, and then 10. And I'm on episode 18 of the second season, and I have been powering through them really quick. It's not as intense as Sons of Anarchy.
Okay.
But I would say if Sons of Anarchy was like a 10 on the intensity scales, this is probably like a 9. But like there are so many times, just like with Sons of Anarchy, where you're watching it and things are happening, and you're like, would you just not do that? And then they do it anyway.
Oh, okay.
You could have just not done that. Just don't do it. But yeah, like I had never heard of the show, or maybe I heard of it when it was launching, because I want to say it was like 2014 or 15. But I didn't have DirecTV at the time that it came out. But on top of that, I follow Frank Grillo on Instagram. And he was talking about how it was only available until the end of May. And I was like, oh, and it's not that many episodes. I'll pop through that. And I was thinking I'm doing stupidly the things that I was doing with Sons of Anarchy. Where I finished, it's like 92 episodes or something crazy like that. And I finished it in like, I want to say I finished those 92 episodes in less than 60 days.
Oh, wow. You plowed through that.
Yeah, so this one, I'm 28 episodes in, and I want to say it's been less than a week.
Oh, nice. You should definitely be done by May.
Just maybe a little over a week, but still, it's one of those things where 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm rolling around, and I'm like, what am I still doing awake?
I could wonder that.
Yeah. Those are. It's entertaining enough that I'm really intertwined with it, and I'm excited to see where it goes. A couple of friends of mine had already seen it, and I reached out and was like, "Hey, did you ever watch this?" And they were like, "Oh, it's so good."
Nice.
And then I mentioned the fact that these characters just keep popping up, like they just doing it, and he's like, "Oh, it gets worse." There's one episode in the middle of season 2 where like 3 or 4 bad things, all like majorly bad things happen.
Oh wow!
You're like, fuck. and then that's when I texted our friend Lee. And then I was like, because he had said he watched it, and I was like, "You just finished this episode last night, and I can't believe this, and this happened." And he was like, "Oh, it gets much worse."
Oh wow! Okay.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing it. I'm not somebody. I've never been a huge MMA fan.
Yeah.
It's not something that's really like me at all. I will say that like it's kind of like it gives you that Fast and Furious type of thing, where like after you watch a Fast and Furious movie, you're like, "I want to go 100 miles an hour, 65."
Oh yeah.
But then like this one, it's just like now I might, or you watch Creed or any Rocky movie, and then you're like, I can do this for a little while. So like I'm watching MMA, and I'm like, I can't even do that. I can do that, but it'd be really cool if I could do that. So gives you a little bit more healthy respect for the people that. I also know somebody else who was an MMA fighter.
Oh, cool.
And so given that, kind of giving you that backdoor glimpse of what they kind of go through.
Nice.
I don't know how true it is, honestly. I'll probably ask him next time I see him, but it's one of those things where I'm like, this is some intense crap. The drug usage and all the stuff that goes along with it. But yeah, it's a seriously entertaining movie. I can't remember. Have we talked since the Snyder Cut came out?
No, we haven't. What'd you think of the Snyder Cut?
I think it's way better than the original Justice League cut.
I'll definitely agree with that.
It's my second favorite of the Snyder movies for the DC universe. Man of Steel is still my favorite out of those, and I just watched Man of Steel and Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition like days before the Snyder Cut came out.
I didn't do Superman, but I did do that Batman vs Superman Ultimate Edition because I'd only ever watched that once in the theater, so I wanted to. I heard the
regular version.
I watched the regular version in the theater. I'd never seen the director's cut or Ultimate Edition or whatever, and I heard it was better, so I watched it 1 or 2 days before the Snyder Cut came out. I honestly couldn't tell you what was new and different in it. Like, I watched it and still kind of just felt the same way that I did about it the first time I saw it.
I can see that. I think it fleshes it out and it works better. But you can definitely feel so much of a difference in the Snyder Cut versus the Whedon.
For sure, 100% agree with that. Real quick, the one thing in the Ultimate Edition of Batman vs Superman, and I don't know how different this is from the original, I can't remember, but I really enjoyed all of the Wonder Woman stuff in that movie. Like. And I don't know how much of it was different. I can't remember, but I remember when I watched it, any scene that she was in, I really was like, oh, like she's doing a really good job in this scene and like kind of carrying the scene in that cut.
And it's pretty much the same.
Is it?
Mostly the same.
Okay.
The regular that I can remember anyway. I really the Schneider Cut. The first hour and a half of this 4-hour movie.
Yeah.
I feel like the first hour and a half was a little bit too slow.
Agree.
Are setting up a whole lot of stuff.
Yep.
Which they thought they were going to be able to get to at some point in time.
Yep.
Who knows if they will or not. But it's definitely one of those moments where I thought I found myself was a little tired when I started it, so I was drifting off during that first hour and a half.
Sure.
Once I through that, I want to say it was part 3 or part 4 because it's broken into 8 segments. I want to say that's when I started to like really click with it, really follow it, and really just I didn't want to turn it off. I was mad because like I ended up having to, because it's 4 hours long and I have 4 kids, I had stuff I had to do that day. So like I got to the point where I was like, I have to turn this off because I have to get the kid over here and do that. And so like it was like dang it, all right, fine, just start out here. And so it would be something. We've talked about this recently with The Mandalorian and with other things. I would love to have seen that on the big screen. Like, even, and don't get me wrong, like, I understand we have access to things that other people don't because of our job. I would love if I could find a way to watch that on the big screen at our theater, even like without an audience, just because I just think it would be awesome and grand to have it playing through the surround sound speakers and just being in the auditorium for it. I know 4 hours is a long freaking time.
Yeah,
but I would put up with it and take that chance.
See, I just didn't enjoy it enough. I, unlike you, did not have the responsibility of children, so the day that it launched, I flat out told my wife, I said, I'm going to get up at 8 a.m. this day, and I am going to watch this movie. That's what I'm going to be doing. It took me like 6 hours to watch it, because there are, like you said, a lot of parts that are slow, and I'd pause it, and I'd get up, and I'd walk around my house, and I'd go outside for a little bit. Like, I really had to break. I could not do 4 hours sitting at once. I was not that invested in it. I didn't love it. There's no way I would have wanted to sit through that in 4 hours in theaters. Like,
I didn't love it either. I think what's interesting to me is you can essentially slap Infinity War and Endgame together.
Yep.
And probably be more riveted.
Oh yeah.
To sit down and watch that straight through at 5 hours or whatever it would be.
Yep.
6 at 5.5 hours. I would be more riveted to watch that back to back than I would to watch this one. But I just think that like there's just certain times where like I don't know how that movie ever would have fit on the screen. Like it would have had to have been 3 hours.
Yep.
Because there's not a whole. I don't. Even though the slow parts happen at the beginning for me, like I don't feel like there's a whole lot of like empty exposition. I feel like it's all stuff that kind of leads to what's going on. And so I mean, you could cut an hour out maybe.
Sure. Yeah.
At that time, you're probably going to start getting sacrificing quite a bit to get to get a cohesive full version. But I liked what they did. They took a chance.
Yeah.
It's something that I wish Hollywood would do more often.
Sure.
Whereas like being willing to give us extended editions on some kind of streaming platform.
Well, and again, like I liked it far more than the version that we did watch in theater. Like, sorry, Joss Whedon. Like, overall, I'm a fan of his, but like, I just this movie, despite the fact that there were some slow and boring parts, in my opinion, I felt like the stuff that was good in this version was far superior to the Joss Whedon version. Specifically, like Steppenwolf. Like, when I started watching it and I saw like the mechanical Steppenwolf and whatnot, I was like, dude, that looks badass. I couldn't remember what Steppenwolf looked like in Joss Whedon's version. So like I get on my phone and I look it up and I'm like, oh my god, that's right, it looked that bad. Like the half helmet with the lower face, like, I don't know, I really liked the way he looked in this version. I felt like he was a much more menacing character. I liked the switch on the flashback story to the fact that it was actually Darkseid that came and not Steppenwolf that came the first time when he lost to the thousands of years ago people and whatnot.
Yeah.
So like I liked the stuff that he changed. I felt like it was a far better movie. Ray Fisher stuff was fine. Like I'm not a huge Ray Fisher fan. It has nothing to do with like all of his claims or anything. It just has to do with I just don't feel like he's compelling as an actor. Like he seems robotic to me when he plays Cyborg, and I just don't know. I don't know. I liked the fact that his character got more fleshed out and got more story time, but like I didn't care that it was Ray Fisher doing it. Like he didn't seem to bring much more to the character than I'd already seen.
I like the actor who played his dad and what ended up happening for that character. I thought that was a cool way to do what they did.
Yeah, that was very cool.
But yeah, I'm right there with you. The Snyder Cut is something that is just for us fanboys.
Sure.
If you are not a big fanboy, why would you waste 4 hours of your life?
Yeah.
Like, but what I was saying was like, I wish I wish studios would take more chances on stuff like this.
Sure.
Because like you've said for years and years that we want to see the rated R version of Galaxy Quest, of Can't Hardly Wait.
Yep.
Like why? Like, give me the original cuts of those movies and release them digitally.
Yep.
Just so that I because it can't even cost them that much to finish. Like I don't know. But yeah, that's something that I would love to see them do more often. Is dip back into what they already have.
For sure.
What's already been completed, because we know that there's R-rated cuts of both of those movies that we just didn't get to see. So
well, and like a fun story for anybody that doesn't know about this whole situation and whatnot. Because I'm a big Chris Moore fan, who's a producer. He produced the American Pie movies, and he's a friend of Ben Affleck and Matt Damon's. I saw an interview with him one time. His wife is one of the producers on Can't Hardly Wait. And Can't Hardly Wait came out in 98. American Pie was in 99. She brought home the first cut of Can't Hardly Wait to show her husband, Chris Moore. And at the time, he was producing American Pie. So he watched the first cut of Can't Hardly Wait, and he literally said that the next day he walked into Universal and said, "We need to push American Pie as hard R as we can and make it a teenage sex comedy, because I just watched Can't Hardly Wait last night, and that's exactly what that is. It's a hard R teenage sex comedy." And so that's what ended up getting American Pie to become the R-rated movie that it is. And unfortunately, Can't Hardly Wait, the studios decided they wanted to cut it down to PG-13. So somewhere out there in the world, there is an R-rated version of Can't Hardly Wait that has a lot more profanity, sex and nudity, like drugs and alcohol, the vodka-soaked watermelon scene by Jason Segel. So somewhere out there, there's an R-rated version of Can't Hardly Wait that is what actually made American Pie what American Pie became. And we've never seen that version of it. We've seen clips of it.
And don't get me wrong, I love Can't Hardly
Sure.
Can't Hardly Wait is a fantastic film. I can watch it over and over again. It's got so many actors in it that have gone on to do so many different things. It's fantastic. I love the movie to death. It came out the year that Shane and I graduated high school. Literally, like right after we graduated high school.
1 week after we graduated, it was in theaters.
It was fantastic. It holds a special place in my heart forever because of that special thing. But yes, for the fact that we and Galaxy Quest, Sigourney Weaver came out and said that it was a totally different movie than what they had made when they were filming it.
I don't think that Walt Disney owned it when they filmed it. I think Walt Disney bought it later. And
no, they didn't buy it until the acquisition.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, okay.
This is the DreamWorks movie.
Yes, that's right.
So,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure they didn't get their claws into it until it was. It might be a Sony movie, dude. It might still be a Sony movie. Let me pull that up.
Yeah, look that up. But yeah, so Sigourney Weaver has come out and said that the version that was released when the main cast went to the El Capitan premiere of it, that they were all upset at what they saw on screen because it got turned into a PG tongue-in-cheek kids movie, and she's what? Good.
Amazing film.
Yeah.
Good. And the rated R version is just something I personally want to see, but the PG-13 version is so good and fun and entertaining.
Oh yeah.
And Tim Allen playing the silly version of Captain Kirk is just fantastic.
Oh yeah, wonderful. But yeah, when they all signed on and looked at the original script, it was an adult version of Star Trek, and some of the sex stuff still is kind of present. She still has her cleavage out and whatnot in some of the scenes. You can still see the scene where they ADR'd over her saying the F word. You can, and it's terrible ADR. You can literally look at her lips and see what she actually says.
It should have been cut to a different.
Yes, that was terrible editing. But yeah, so that's another one of those movies that just Disney decided to come in and cut it down, and I still want to see what the cast actually made.
What's the cast? It wasn't Disney. It was DreamWorks. DreamWorks is the one who cut it.
Really? Okay, I thought it was Disney for some reason.
Nope, it was DreamWorks.
Okay. Because at that time, Tim Allen, I thought, was under contract with Disney because he was doing all the Santa Claus movies and stuff like that.
No, he wasn't under contract to just work for Disney.
Okay.
So.
Well, so DreamWorks made those decisions, not Disney.
This is a bad idea.
Can I do a quick?
Side note.
Yep.
I just found this out while looking it up.
Yep.
Tim Allen had to decide whether he wanted to do Galaxy Quest or Bicentennial Man. So glad he picked Galaxy Quest.
Agreed. Bicentennial Man. God bless Robin Williams, but that movie's garbage.
It is garbage.
Yeah. So I got a quick story to tell real quick about what I watched. Well, one of the things I watched this week. Well, it was actually last week. Well, I guess I watched it this week. So I'm on the airplane. We're flying out to Arizona. And Southwest has all these free movies that you can watch. So I'm looking through the list. And, I don't want to watch a movie for the first time on an airplane. Like, that's just not a viewing experience I want. So I settled on watching Tenet because I love the movie. I know the movie. If I don't hear a line of dialogue, I still know what was said there. Like, I can just enjoy the movie.
Go
ahead. Come out. Yeah?
It all depends on what the movie is that you're going to watch. Because I watched a movie called High Note that has Dakota Johnson in it on my flight back from Vegas. And it was totally, I'm so glad that I watched it on that flight instead of actually ever paying for it. Sorry. Continue with it.
You're good. But I wouldn't pick something like High Note to watch. So, like I said, I watched Tenet. So I'm watching Tenet. And unfortunately, because apparently Southwest doesn't care about COVID anymore, it was a completely full flight. My family didn't get to sit together on the way to Arizona, so I'm in a seat by myself in the middle of two guys. Guy on my left, I look over, and he's watching a movie on his phone. Yeah, whatever. I like it between two guys. I get it, yeah. I look over at the guy on my left, and I look down at his phone, and I see the very beautiful Judy Greer on his phone. So I'm like, oh, what are you watching? This got Judy Greer in it. I don't recognize this. And then I watch a couple of minutes later, and Tom Lennon is on screen. And I'm like, oh, this has to be a good comedy then. Like, Judy Greer and Tom Lennon are amazing comedic, performers. Look a couple of minutes later, and Tony Hale is on the screen. It's a Tony Hale from Arrested Development.
No, I said whoa.
Oh, gotcha. I thought you said who. So I look down, and Tony Hale is it's set in a high school, and Tony Hale is like the gym teacher or whatnot. And I'm like, man, what movie has these three actors in it? Like, I don't think I've ever seen this, and I hadn't seen it, but I think you have. And then all of a sudden, Jenna Fisher is on screen, and I'm like, this has to be an amazing comedy. This is four very comedic actors. What movie is this that I don't know what it is? So every now and then I keep looking over at a screen and whatnot. It is not a comedy of any kind, despite the fact that it has those four comedic actors in it. It's actually a true story, a biopic, which is why I never watched it, and it's directed by Clint Eastwood. Is it coming to mind yet? Do you know where I'm going? Biopic, directed by Clint Eastwood. Came out in like 2016. 1517 to Paris is what the movie ended up being. You didn't watch it?
No, I watched it.
Oh, okay.
I was super pumped with the movie. He used the original...
The original three guys. And so eventually it gets to the scene when they're on the train, and one of the three guys is wearing a Bayern Munich jersey. So obviously it's got my attention at that point. But yeah, so once it got to that point, I remember the Bayern Munich thing from the trailer, but it never got me to watch the movie back then. But so I'm kind of, watching every now and then on his phone, and I'm like, obviously I can't hear anything or anything like that, but I'm like, I really want to watch this movie now, just because I didn't know what the cast was. I knew that the three, real guys were in it. But watching the train violent sequence that happens on the train, just watching it on his phone made me go, you know what, I think I want to watch this movie. Like, I felt like an adrenaline rush watching that scene. So I came home, found a way to watch it. It's not available on any streaming service, but I found a way to have access to it and ended up watching it and really liked the movie. For not like I am not a biopic person. 90% of them I don't enjoy. I liked this movie. I liked the cast. I liked the kids that they had playing them, and I got emotionally invested in this movie. And I don't think it had anything to do with the Bayern Munich jersey, but that definitely helped. So, did you not like the movie? It didn't sound like you liked it.
The movie's fine. It's really weird because sometimes I love Clint Eastwood movies when he directs.
Okay.
And then sometimes I'm just like, I could totally do without this.
Okay.
I could totally do without this category, along with Jersey Boys, which was a total horrible representation of the musical.
Yeah.
The only cool thing that I learned from the movie, because I've never seen the musical personally, the only cool thing I learned from the movie was that Joe Pesci was literally one of the guys, was like a gopher for one of the four seasons.
Yeah.
And now, flip it years and years later, that guy is now Joe Pesci's gopher. And they've just literally been helping each other stay employed for decades.
I feel like you told me that not too long ago. Like, I wasn't aware of that. And I'm pretty sure you're the one that told me about that.
It's a weird, cool thing. But yeah, oh man, and I wanted to like this movie so much. It's such a heroic tale of stopping things before things got really out of hand. But I think it hurt the movie having the three guys who actually did it.
Really?
Movie.
See, I think that's why I was okay with it, because I feel like, now granted, none of us really know what happened on the train.
And the entire time you're watching it, that's what was going through my head.
Okay.
Their acting is so bad, but at least you got the three original guys. So that's one of those moments where you're like, but the fact that I'm getting pulled in and out of the movie constantly by that thought process.
I see.
It's kind of like the same problem that I had with Act of Valor, which was the movie that the Navy filmed with a filmmaker where they used actual Navy SEALs to go and do a movie about Navy SEALs.
Yeah, I never saw it.
It was, don't get me wrong, it was really cool. I got to see things that I didn't know they did, but I'm sure that we didn't get to see everything that a Navy SEAL actually gets to do because they're going to be trade secrets, right?
Sure.
But there was the acting parts, there was drama with one of them getting a divorce or something. I can't remember what it was, but it was I feel like I'm watching MTV Real World crap.
Gotcha.
Crap. That was my only issue with 1517 to Paris. I thought otherwise it was really peace. Did you ever see Sully? I can't remember.
No, I did not. I didn't want, because that's another biopic that I. Wait, hold on. That's the airplane one, right?
Yes.
Okay, I apologize. I did watch that one. That one was okay. That were the last third of it is all the courtroom testimony and stuff like that.
Yeah, but the crazy thing about that movie for me is the fact that they show you the crash.
Yeah.
From 5 different angles. They replay the same moment over 5 or 6 times in that movie. And every single time I was riveted and I was nervous. Is this actually and it's I already know that they don't crash.
Sure.
They do a water and anything. But every single time while I'm watching this movie, I'm still getting completely riveted by it. And for him to do something like that gets me completely invested in every single time I 6 times show it, compared to 15, 17, where I'm just not as into it as I want to be. I want to say, if I'm remembering correctly, I think we had multiple things that came out that week, and that was just one of those times where you wanted to watch something else, and I wanted to watch that.
No reason. But yeah, so that was my story about the main thing I watched this week. That was new for me, and I really enjoyed it. With all the sports that's been going on recently, I actually ended up watching 2 sports documentaries that I've seen before. One of them we talked about recently on our basketball episode. We talked about the girls' high school basketball documentary called The Heart of the Game. It's available on Paramount Plus now. So on that episode, you made fun of me because I didn't think about putting the disc into my Xbox to watch it. But now I don't even have to do that because I just learned this week that it's available on Paramount Plus. So I got to
the month of March.
Probably. It'll probably be gone tomorrow, so then I'll be back in my quandary. But I watched it, so it's fresh in my mind again. But so yeah, Paramount Plus has Heart of the Game on it, which is an hour-and-a-half female basketball documentary about this coach that transforms a basketball team over 7 years. Like I said, it's got some emotional roller coaster stuff, like the girls' lives outside of basketball. Really still holds up for me. I still thought it was a really amazing documentary. And then the other one is actually tied to you in a roundabout way. When you were living in Boston, and I was out there hanging out for an extended period of time, I went to the Boston International Film Festival, and at that film festival, I watched a documentary called Ice Kings.
Yeah.
It's about a New Hampshire hockey team that won the state championship 30 years in a row. But the cool thing about this documentary is it follows year 31, where they didn't win. But throughout the whole time, they build you up for like how much this means to this school, and how it's got 30 years of nonstop winning and all the banners hanging it everywhere, and like how much these kids and families love it. And I don't know how long these documentary people had to follow this team to be able to have all the footage that they have, to wait until the year that they don't win to like build everything around that. But it was $7 on YouTube. Like, that was the place of all places I could find it. And I don't even know why this documentary popped into my head. But 2 days ago, I was sitting around. It was after I watched Heart of the Game, and I was just thinking about sports documentaries. And I was like, I wonder if that's available anywhere to watch or buy or anything. Sure enough, YouTube Movies was the only place I could find to buy it. It was only $7, so I bought it, watched it, and man, that is still it's a powerful thing because it builds you up that like here's this great hockey team and this great hockey culture, and like here's 30 years of history. Like they've got footage from games in the 70s and stuff like that, and like it just builds you up, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, by the way, this is about the year that they didn't win because these things happened that caused them not to win, and like how demoralizing it was to these kids, like the seniors that had literally won 3 years in a row, and then they're not winning their senior year. Like, it's great.
It's kind of interesting that you bring that up because I remember they were filming the movie Fever Pitch, the American version of it,
right?
With Steve Down and Drew Barrymore. And it's all about the Red Sox, the lovable loser team, essentially. Literally filmed it in 2004 when the Red Sox had the incredible, improbable comeback against the Yankees in the ALCS. Doing the whole fucking thing. Like, it's just one of those moments where it's like, of course, that's the year you decided.
Exactly.
You would have made it the year before, you would have had the lovable loser team that was a part of Shane Ice. Was that we were at the
Harlem Film Festival? Yep.
Yeah. It was the launching of the film festival gala or whatever.
That was the night that we watched Blizzard, and I got to meet LeVar Burton.
Oh yeah.
We were down at the Hilbert Circle Theater. We watched Blizzard. I got to talk to LeVar Burton afterwards, and then you and I walked down the street to. I can't remember the bar we ended up going to. It was a chain restaurant bar.
Hard Rock. No, it might have been the Hard Rock. I want to say we were on Meridian on the way back to the car, and we were like, we're just going to stop here. I want to say it was Jillian's or maybe the Hard Rock.
I think it was Jillian's. I think you're right. I think it was Jillian's.
And then we watched it, and it's still like
they went to what, 14 or 15 innings? 13?
I want to get lost in the 13th inning, and we watched all the way through the top of the 13th, and it was in New York. And I was like, dude, let's just go home. And then literally we got into the car, and I turned on the car, and turned on the radio, and it was like, and Aaron Boone hits the home run, and it was just right.
Yep.
That was quite the evening, man. That was awesome. Anyway, so we were going to talk about, now that we've talked about what we watched this week, we swing over and talk about the possibility possibilities of what might come out for the rest of the year, because everybody knows that we're in a fluid situation thanks to our wonderful COVIDness.
Well, and it's like everything was getting moved up for a while, and now all of a sudden everything's getting moved back again.
Dude, it's this weird, crazy, stupid stuff where it's like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? So, today released, because we are talking on March 31st, although now we're to April 1st. Today released.
April Fools!
Was what?
We're killing this episode. We're done. April Fools.
Was Godzilla vs. Kong.
Which I watched today.
With Shane.
I watched it.
Has seen.
I did. Well, no matter what, I probably would have watched it today no matter what. Like, I'm fine with watching stuff on HBO Max. I don't care. Like, I am unfortunately one of the people...
Godzilla. These monsters are supposed to be like 30, 40 feet tall.
Yeah, cool. Let me tell you, I watched...
They're not supposed to be 6 inches tall on your stupid ass little thing.
Well, so first of all, I've got a 70-inch television, so they're not 4 inches tall. They're 70-ish inches. So anyway, the diagonal, whatever.
So they might be 30 inches.
It's big enough for me. I am unfortunately one of those people where, like, I'm not comfortable with the COVID situation. Like, I'm not. I went to this. I went to the event that I went to tonight because my buddy Nick Joy is a huge Godzilla fan. Like, literally has Godzilla, Mechagodzilla, like, tattooed on his arm. Like, as long as I've known him, he's been a huge Godzilla fan. So he invited me because he bought out a movie theater tonight, so it was just going to be his friends watching the movie. He was allowed to invite 20 people or whatever, and I was one of the 20. So he bought out the theater. That made me a little more comfortable going, to a movie theater. Because, like, and don't get me wrong, we're on April 1st right now. In 10 hours, I'm going to get my one-and-done shot. So, like, I'll feel a little bit better in 10 hours, but, like, I'm still not totally comfortable, like, the going out in public stuff. Maybe it's because I'm halfway agoraphobic in real life. I don't know.
Because your ass goes to Byron Munich games at fucking sports bars.
Right, where there's 4 of us, so it's 4 friends of mine. I don't feel that uncomfortable around them. And we social distance when we do it.
The only ones there.
At 9:30 in the morning, yeah, they're the only ones there. I mean, the bar, we get in there before the bar opens. The bar opens at 10. Maybe by 11, there's 2 or 3 other people in the bar. But, like, Saturday morning, most people are still recovering from their Friday night shenanigans. So we're fairly safe. But so I went and saw Kong tonight, and I don't want to lower your expectations, but lower them. It's literally Batman versus Superman again. There's literally a scene that could have ended with the word Martha because of the way it's shot.
80% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. 80%.
I will say this. Out of all of the Kong and all of the Godzilla movies we've gotten thus far, I probably like this one the most.
Well, I really like Kong Skull Island.
Skull Island?
And I like the first Godzilla. The second one wasn't as good. But I like the first one.
I'm interested in the fact that they were not able to bring back Brie Larson for this. They brought back Skarsgård, but not her. I don't know if that has anything to do with Captain Marvel or her Disney dealings or anything, but, like, she's not in this movie.
Kong also takes place in the 70s, dude. So, like, for a movie that takes place in the 70s, and then this is supposed to be current, isn't it?
Alexander Skarsgård does not look that old. Like, I'm very confused by that as well, because he doesn't look like he's 60 or 70 years old. So,
okay.
But yeah, he looks the same age as he was in that first movie in Skull Island.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it is what it is. They gave Kong some gray beard, like, so yay for them acknowledging that he's aged. I guess I don't know. So I went because of my buddy Nick. He was unhappy-ish. I think he liked the movie, but like I said, he has Godzilla and Mechagodzilla tattooed on his arm, so he was not happy with certain aspects of the movie. without giving any, I don't want to give anything away. So there were things.
What do you mean by that?
There were things that he was not happy about as far as that goes. But I mean, Millie Bobby Brown is fine. They try to throw like the entire opening sequence of this movie is comedy. Like it's a montage with a musical number and with Kong doing things that are comedic, and I'm just like, why are you doing this? This isn't how I would represent Kong. But I mean, yeah, well, and I'm going to be 100% honest here, and this actually will tie back to the the Snyder Cut. This movie, so you know how you call the Saw films gore porn?
Yes.
This movie is destroy Earth porn.
Okay, so it's CGI porn.
Yes, it's CGI porn, and that really bothers me because, first of all, like, it's cool that Godzilla and Kong look the way that they do, but I just sit there and go, that's all CGI. It's not like when I watch like an old Godzilla movie and I'm like, man, it's kind of cool that they, like, I can see how they made this work. Like, I can see the lines and the different layers of film and whatnot, but like, they blended two things that work there together. That's pretty cool. This is just like, how much CGI can we do?
Yeah.
But then I'm going to tie it back to Batman versus Superman and Justice League because, and I don't know if I've just hit an old age where this becomes something that bothers me, but when Kong and Godzilla are fighting and they're knocking over skyscrapers and like 4 or 5 buildings are like crashing and tumbling, I sit there and go, man, like there's people inside those buildings that are dying that had nothing to do with this. And it brings me back to Bruce Wayne in the opening scene of the Snyder Cut, where he is, 9/11 running into like Wayne Enterprises or Wayne Bank or whatever, like while it's being destroyed. And it's just like, it's one of those things where I'm like, I can't, not that I can't enjoy it, but like, I just don't enjoy movies that destroy cities to destroy cities for no reason. And that's one of my big issues with Superman and the Zod fight and everything like that, where it's just like, I think about movies like Armageddon.
Because I feel like that was literally like, which is the whole reason why he takes Doomsday out of Metropolis.
Yeah.
Yes. Because he's learned from Man of Steel that this is not something like he doesn't want a part of his legacy to be so tainted that because of the fact that people are just needlessly dying. Because he's just in the middle of a fight in the middle of the city, but he's so monstrously powerful that he ends up destroying city blocks.
Sure.
So yeah, like that's one of the things I really enjoy about BBS is the fact that he's like consciously like, I've got to get him away from everybody. I've got to take him to of an area where nobody lives.
Yeah. So it's just like watching the movie and just watching Godzilla like blue thing come out of his mouth and he like swipes right and destroys like 4 buildings and they all come crashing down. I'm just like, that's literally a lot of people dying.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know. So it is what it is. And again, it's not a bad movie. I didn't regret going. Like, Nick and I got to talk about it afterwards, which is something that I've missed, watching movies with my friends and talking about it afterwards.
Why you should watch it at home, Shane.
Well, but dude, I'm not gonna lie. Like, well, first of all, like, I've kind of gotten very in my own realm of watching stuff now. Like, I don't mind watching stuff at home alone anymore. Like, I love watching movies with you, man.
You never actually watch things with the public, right?
Right.
You would always just watch. We would watch it together for the most part, or if there were multiple prints, we might be in all the different auditoriums. But like, it's one of those things where it's like, at least we're watching it at the same time, so that right afterwards we can be like, dude.
Yes.
But yeah, so like.
But with the way the world is right now, man, like I like my home TV. Like I said, it's like 70 inches. It's big enough for me to sit in the dark. I don't mind watching stuff at home where I can just pause it and go to the bathroom.
This should never have been released now. This movie should never have been released now.
Well, I mean, Warner Brothers made the decision to do everything that way this year, so I feel like you're going to be pretty upset most of the year.
Yeah, but if you think about it, like, why? What? At least with, like, a Marvel movie, you're seeing things that, like, build on top of other things, right? Like, so, like, whatever happens in this one affects that one, so, like, you need to release them in a certain order. Kong versus Godzilla doesn't need to be resolved in any, released in any fashion. If they make a sequel to this, I'll be surprised.
Well, real quick, anybody that's watching, I'm going to let you know right now, there's no post-credit scene. We stayed all the way through the end of the credits. No post-credit scene, so don't waste your time with the credits. There's nothing, at least not on the version that I watched.
But you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And just, like, This is a movie you could have waited to release until everybody could have been having their ass in the seat at a movie theater. So,
but when do you really think that's going to happen? Like, when do you really think movie theaters are going to go back to normal?
I think you'd be surprised. I mean, like, here you are telling me how busy they were down on the south side.
They were very busy.
When I saw Rhea on opening weekend, but again, Shane and I are lucky enough that we have access to things that not everybody does.
Correct.
So I will be completely honest. My family and I saw it without any other people in the auditorium. We got to go in before they opened. We got to run it before they opened, and we were all alone. It was just me, my wife, and my 4 kids. So that's something that's a perk of our job.
Yep.
But Rhea was selling out like crazy at AMC that weekend.
But by selling out, you mean the 25%?
25 or 50%, whatever the case would be. Like, they were still selling out auditorium after Oregon.
Sure.
And I checked the day before, 2 days before. I wasn't checking the day of. So these theaters might have been selling out a whole lot more than I'm even aware of. So I know Tom and Jerry was a huge thing that they weren't expecting. Well, let me rephrase that. It wasn't huge. It was $14 million on the opening weekend.
Sure.
Which also released on HBO Max at the exact same time.
Yep.
They were not expecting $14.5 million out of Tom and Jerry on opening weekend. It was way bigger than they thought they were going to get out of it.
So first thing I want to say about HBO Max, I'm pissed off at myself. I did not watch Jesus and the Black Messiah in time. So that's on me, and I'm mad at myself for that. I missed it. I went to look for it one day. Not that I was actually planning to watch it, but I just wanted to see if it was still there because I knew it was coming off soon, and it wasn't. So that makes me mad. I need to hurry up and watch Tom and Jerry. It sounds like my family doesn't care about it, so I might end up watching it by myself.
You think it just left.
Oh, crap! Was it?
So I want to say the last day was sometime in March. So, but next big movie, because today was Godzilla vs. Kong, their next big movie for HBO Max apparently is Mortal Kombat,
which I'm so excited about.
I'm so excited for this movie that I went and bought the original 1994 version, the digital version of that.
I think it was 95 and 97, wasn't it? 95, 97?
Maybe it was 95.
I think it's 95, 97.
Before 95. Whatever the case may be, I bought the original because I wanted to rewatch it. The second one is a piece of garbage compared to the first one, which isn't that great anyway.
I was going to say, the first one's not very good.
It's not the best, but it was for a movie based on a video game. It's definitely in a top tier as far as I'm concerned. Compared to the only other one that I could rank high was the very first Resident Evil. So I think the first Resident Evil and the first Mortal Kombat are highest on my list of like video game movies because I think back on it and I'm like, Doom is really, really cheesy and bad.
Was that Uwe Boll?
I don't think that one was.
Okay. No. I know he did a bunch of
horrible. Street Fighter is absolutely.
Street Fighter is terrible. You know, it sucks. It sucks that that's Raul Julia's last film that he made.
Oh, yeah, but I was just watching a video on that recently, right? It was talking about the fact that like the actors who signed on to do horrible roles in really, really bad movies, and how they were really good in them. And that's one of them because he was apparently he found out right before they were filming that movie that he was dying of stage 4 cancer, and so stomach cancer. And so he went balls to the wall with that movie to get one final really good payday right before he died to give the money to his family. And he's insane in that movie, but it works for the film. It also talked about I'm trying to think of another one that they had listed. One of them was Gary Oldman doing something, and I can't remember what it was. He just totally went for it, and it was something like it was like one of the ones where he was like a preacher, I think, for like a demonic possession movie or something.
Oh, interesting.
But on the side note of that, Mortal Kombat comes out on April 23rd, I think, is what it's released date.
It got pushed back. Is that the new date? Was 16th? It was the 16th, the original.
I can't remember. It was originally supposed to come out January 15th. They bumped it back to April. They're now bumping it back another week. So,
have you heard what the rumor? Did you hear the rumor?
Tell the rumor.
Okay. So its original date on April 16th. If somebody signed up on the day that the Zack Snyder cut came out, you could pay for 1 month, and your last day of eligibility would have been the day that Mortal Kombat came out.
So you would have got Snyder Cut, Godzilla vs. Kong,
and Mortal Kombat, all for 1 month of HBO Max. So the rumor is that they pushed it back for a week, so that now if you want Mortal Kombat, you have to not unsubscribe for another month. And I think that's hilarious. Like, good for them.
Unsubscribing before this releases on HBO Max, because this is another one I want to watch in the theater. I don't want to watch this at home.
Man.
Dude, you know me, man. I'm a purist. I love movies and movie theaters in general. I want to be. That's where I want to be. I want to be in the theater watching this movie. I don't want to be sitting at home where my kids could potentially interrupt me and I have to hit pause or I have the ability to go pee in the middle of it, or my dog is going to jump up on me. No, screw that. I want a movie theater experience where I'm going to be alone or with friends, sitting and enjoying and not being fully interrupted while I'm watching my movie. So
Man. And the worst part is like every time we get into this argument, I always think back and I'm like, 20 years ago, obviously I was in the exact same boat with you. And for a lot of my life, I was in the exact same boat with you. But I think I've just gotten to the point where, like, I'm going to watch something, I'm going to watch it. Like, I watch Stranger Things when it gets released. I watch Cobra Kai when it gets released. And I don't mind watching it on the TV that I have at home. I'm not going to watch 10 hours of Cobra Kai in a movie theater. Like,
with those TV episodes, as far as I'm concerned.
But it's still entertainment. It's still that's 10 hours of watching Cobra Kai as opposed to watching 2 hours of a movie.
These movies are made to watch them in a theater. Compared to some people thinking that basically they're made to just be watched at home nowadays. There's a reason why they are 3 hours or less for the most part. There's a reason why they spend as much money as they do on the special effects. If Kong vs. Godzilla was going to be a home movie release, they would have never spent the amount of money that they did on the special effects. Never. You can't convince me otherwise. So, it's one of those things to me that I want to see them in movie theaters, Quiet Place 2, whatever the case may be.
Well, so let me ask you this. So let's say there's a completely hypothetical situation. Let's say you go and watch on, you said Friday night, you're going to a movie theater with friends to watch Kong versus Godzilla.
Yes.
What happens if, when that movie gets over, the three of you walk out of the theater and you're like, that movie sucked. That movie was absolutely terrible. Like, you don't mind the fact that you wasted your time driving, going out in public, risking getting COVID. Like, you don't mind all of that stuff when you could have watched it at home and spent no money. But you took the risk of your life to go out where you might have gotten COVID and paid money to watch something that ultimately you went, oh, that really sucked. I didn't enjoy that at all.
I've been cooped up in my house for an entire fucking year. I'm okay with going in. I've got my first COVID shot. My second COVID shot's in the middle of April.
Nice.
I'm more than willing to go and follow the protocols that they want me to follow, I will wear the stupid ass mask, even though I don't like to.
Well, hell, dude, I just got back from Arizona. We went to the zoo in Arizona. Half the people weren't wearing masks.
I believe
in Arizona, they don't care. They think that this is nothing. Like, I avoided like the plague those people when I saw a family of 10 coming at me with no masks on. I ran the other way. Like, I'm sorry, like, I would rather be part of the solution than the problem, and walking around without a mask, I don't want to go anywhere near you.
Again, not a problem. Like, I understand what you're saying. And it's not like if I'm wearing a mask for the most of the movie that I'm going to be a part of the problem.
No.
But, so...
I was talking about those people in Arizona.
I'm excited for watching this in the theater.
Lower your expectations.
My only downside to this is that Landmark Theaters did not book it at our local theater, so I can get it compared to having to pay. But I'm going to the Legacy Cinema down Greenfield, Indiana. I've never been. It's some place that I've always thought about going for one reason or another, and it's very close to the friends that I'm going with, so I figured that I'd go and see a new movie theater, and I get some real popcorn, hot from an actual kettle, instead of some stupid crap that comes out of my microwave or through my air popper. Not that I also have a kettle here at home, but I don't have the proper stuff to make it taste properly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I need to steal stuff from work. Don't quote me on that. After.
All right, so Mortal Kombat, which I'm very excited about. I can't wait to watch, but I will watch it on HBO Max when it releases.
Is April 23rd. April 23rd is also the release of Wrath of Man, which is a new revenge story with Jason Statham, Josh Burnett, Post Malone,
right?
Whatever.
Well, hold on. Here's the thing. So,
Wood is also in this movie.
So I watched this trailer tonight. I unfortunately have been, because I was out of town for a week and just not on the interwebs very much. Tonight, when I got home from Kong vs. Godzilla, my wife and I sat down and I went to YouTube and I typed in trailers 2021, and she was like, "What are you doing?" And I said, I am going to watch some trailers for movies that I haven't watched trailers for because Jason and I might talk about them tonight. This is one of them. I was super excited to see Josh Hartnett in it because I love him and haven't seen him in very much stuff recently.
It's weird.
Yeah, he lives like on a ranch in Montana or somewhere because he apparently got fed up with Hollywood. Cheers to that. So I heard I think it's Montana. He bought a ranch and he just kind of chills and does his own thing. So it's cool to see him back in a movie. But my wife pointed out Post Malone because like halfway through the trailer, you see a shot of a guy with tattooed faces and scraggly hair. And my wife goes, "Oh, is that Post Malone?" And I said, "Yeah, I think so. Like, it looks like him." And 15 seconds later in the trailer, Jason Statham shoots him in the head. And she goes, "Oh, I'm pretty sure Post Malone just got shot in the head." And I'm like, "I think you're right." So I don't expect Post Malone to last very long in this movie, but good for him.
Don't care. This movie looks like it's some kind of a revenge story. If you want to watch the trailer, pop it up. It's Jason Statham doing Jason Statham things. I love it. I'm all for it. Give me more of this. This is probably something that if it were available on HBO Max, I might not watch it in the theater.
Okay.
Unless I had the ability to see it.
Well, let's talk about a movie right now that's out, like that's similar in vein to this. Nobody, like I can't get Nobody anywhere. So like if I want to watch it, I actually have to go to a theater to watch it, and I'm in that moral dilemma of do I really want to go in public to watch Nobody because I think Nobody looks great.
We need to go.
We should go. Is it at Living Room Lounge? I want to go to Living Room Lounge.
Freaking go, man!
Like that looks good.
Like Nobody does look good. The John Wick version of some, if anybody's not seen the trailer for Nobody, it's essentially John Wick housebroken, and he gets pissed off with the fact that he's being treated like a nobody, and he decides to go on his revenge spree because somebody broke into his house. Essentially, is what it seemed like to me.
Yep.
The guy who plays Better Call Saul from Breaking Bad. I can't remember the guy.
Bob Odenkirk. Bob Odenkirk.
But he looks
like whose brother is Steve Odenkirk, who wrote a bunch of Adam Sandler's early films.
But it looks like he's completely having fun with this film. That he is like this amazing assassin who is just like trying to blend in and be normal, and it's just not working for him anymore. So that would be something fun and great to go see in the theater.
So I'm trying to pull up what they've got. Living Room Lounge does have nobody.
We might have to figure that one out.
We might need to 5:20 and 8 p.m. are their showtimes in the evening, so we might need to figure that. I would go in public because I haven't been to that theater and I want to check it out, and to spend time with you and to sit far away from everybody else. I might be interested in doing this.
Well,
I mean, after tomorrow, I got my shots, so after tomorrow, I should probably start caring less.
And on top of that, if we figured out as a weekday to go, it's probably lower than the weekend.
Probably, yeah.
So next up on our list,
what's next?
Is May 14th, the next big movie after what we were talking about was Wrath of Man.
Yep.
That is Spiral, which you have been super excited about since you've seen the trailer.
And tonight on the Godzilla movie was a new trailer that I hadn't seen before, which I don't know if it gives away, but I didn't realize that Samuel L. Jackson was Chris Rock's dad in the movie.
I thought it was his partner.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. And the new trailer that I saw tonight reveals that Samuel L. Jackson is his dad. Like the I think it might be called like trailer 2 or whatever. But I hadn't seen this version of the trailer before. It focuses a lot on Chris Rock's character, but then like 2/3 of the way through, like his buddy partner white guy goes, "Well, when's the last time you talked to your dad?" And then, of course, it like cuts to Chris Rock like sweeping an apartment complex and looking everywhere. And then he comes around the corner, and there's Sam Jackson just chilling with like scotch or whiskey or something in a glass. And they
let's hit all the cliches.
Yeah. So then like, and sadly, I know you and I had this conversation before. From the first trailer for this movie, the two main characters drive cars from the 70s, and there's no cell phones or anything in the first trailer. So I had told you my theory was that Spiral was actually a prequel, and it was young John... What's that?
Jigsaw.
Yeah, young Jigsaw, John, whatever his name was a young version of him in the 70s, starting out doing Jigsaw stuff. Unfortunately, this new trailer I saw tonight includes flash drives and other modern technology stuff where I would go, and Samuel L. Jackson, when he first meets him, goes, "So we've got a Jigsaw copycat, huh?" And so I'm like, so Jigsaw is well known in the universe at this point. So I was kind of sad that I was wrong about that. When we watched that trailer, I went, so I'm 100% wrong about where they're going with this movie. I was hoping it would be a prequel of a young Jigsaw getting started on doing stuff, but this is obviously very, like, even in the trailer, one of the people goes, "Well, Jigsaw's dead. How's he doing this?" And it's, obviously, I'm not gonna lie, I will be extremely happy if they bring back Carrie Elway. Like, if Carrie Elway ends up being the villain in this, like, I'm fine with it. Like, I'm cool. Like, Carrie Elway decided to continue doing Jigsaw's work. I know you don't like it, but I enjoy the Saw franchise. I enjoy it mostly for its storytelling narrative. I like the fact that a lot of the movies are actually running coherent or concurrent with each other. So I like the fact that like Jigsaw was playing multiple people all at the same time while he was alive, and then I like the fact that you never finished the series, did you? Like, you didn't watch the last couple?
I did not.
Yeah.
The gore porn aspect kind of just overruled the really bad writing for some of those episodes for me.
Well, see, and I was thinking about this earlier. I can't remember why I was thinking about it, but while I don't think that all the Saw movies are like great movies in any way, like they are the kind of movie that make me uncomfortable. Like seeing somebody in a life-threatening situation and like putting myself in that, and like, what would I be trying to do to get out of this? Like, it's like anytime you and I watch a movie together and there's a shot of really high up in the air and looking down on a long way down to the ground, you can look over at me and you see my palms sway. You can see me like getting uncomfortable. Like, heights bother me.
Watch the walk in 3D with me or not?
Oh, I don't think I did.
The Joseph
Gordon-Levitt movie about. Well, I don't think I did, because right before that came out, I watched the actual documentary about that guy, and
you can just be surprised at the movie anymore.
Well, why should I be when it's something that's 30 years old and there's a documentary made about it? I can see the actual, because I love Robert Zemeckis, but who knows what liberties he's going to take with what actually happened. Like, there's footage from that day and that what that guy actually did. Why wouldn't I just watch the real-life footage of it? Like, do you want to watch a movie about 9/11? Or do you want to remember the shit that we watched on television when 9/11 was actually happening?
I can see it both ways, man. Like, I know that I watched, oh my goodness.
Man on a Wire.
Man on the Wire.
Man on a Wire.
I watched that, and I enjoyed that movie. And I watched The Wire, or The Walk.
The Walk, or whatever it was, yeah.
Yeah, and I watched The Walk, and I can tell you that he didn't take a whole lot of liberty with it. I can tell you another thing is that it was fucking amazing to watch it in 3D. So it's one of those things to me. I don't understand. I don't mind disassociating based on a true story with real fact. Like, I'm okay with that being something that's different from one another.
Okay.
It's kind of like, here you are telling me this. This is always your stance. Like, the real story is always better, blah, 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 blah. But The Greatest Showman is so much better than anything I've ever read or watched about
Barnum.
And I have to say, and I know it's not true, and I know a lot of it is liberties that they took to make it into a compelling movie and story, and I'm okay with that.
I agree.
It was the best movie I've seen in the last maybe decade. Which, if anybody wants to argue, come on, rant. The movie is fantastic, and it made me feel things that I haven't felt in cinema in a very long time. So,
100% agree with you. It's in my top 10 of the last 10 years. Like,
easy.
I absolutely love the movie. I'm obsessed with the movie. It's a movie that, like, if we're going through the channels and it is on FX or something like that, we'll turn it on.
You can't do it.
Hold on, let me tell you our story. We'll turn it on and we'll watch it, and then as soon as it goes to a commercial break, we'll go to our purchased movies and we'll fast forward to wherever it was and we'll start watching it from there.
Thank you.
Yes.
I watch it on FX, and they speed it up to like 1.25 times or whatever.
Yeah.
So the songs are like, which is fine when they're not singing and dancing, but there's so much singing and dancing that happens in that movie, that when I hear the songs and they're not playing at the proper speed in my brain, and I'm like, I can't do it. So that's Spiral.
Which I'm so excited about. I can't wait. I do like the Saw franchise.
I won't lie to you that I am really intrigued with this movie, so I'm super excited to watch it whenever it comes out. Next up, May 21st, Netflix only, releasing Army of the Dead by Zack Snyder, starring Dave Bautista.
Trailer looks good.
The trailer is entertaining and fun. Zack Snyder, I actually like everything I've seen of his. I might not love it, but he's definitely got a good edge and a good entertainment value for his movies. His version of Dawn of the Dead is awesome.
And I'm hoping they find some way to connect Army of the Dead to that movie. Like, I hope there's like some kind of reference or callback.
And show up as a zombie.
Sure. Or give me Sarah Polley. Like, when that movie came out in 2004, I was on a high of Sarah Polley. She'd done a lot of movies I really liked. So give me Sarah Polley. Give me Mekhi Phifer. Like, I'm hoping in a small, subtle way that they just connect back to that 2004 film.
Yeah. Next up after that is the Disney movie Cruella, May 28th. That's Emma Stone playing Cruella de Vil, but it's kind of like a prequel to 101 Dalmatians. I have no interest, even after watching this trailer, I have zero interest in watching this movie. And don't get me wrong, what's really sad to me about that is the fact that I love Emma Stone. Like,
100% agree with you.
She's so good at like comedic. She's so good at comedic roles, and she's good in like pretty much everything that she does, whether it's a drama or it's comedic. And I watched this trailer, and I was completely unenthused and not interested at all.
So I saw this trailer for the first time tonight. Don't know why I didn't watch it before, but it was ahead of Kong versus Godzilla tonight. And I was sitting next to my buddy Nick, and I looked over at him and I said, "Oh, so they're trying to make Cruella de Vil as Harley Quinn?" Because that is literally what the trailer reminds me of. There's spray paint all over buildings like Cruella and all this stuff. The scene where she's standing in front of the mirror with the red hair that I know Emma Stone has, like, she's standing in front of the mirror with red hair, and
it's actually blonde, and she dyes her hair red.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so that shot is in the trailer of her with red hair, and then it like tries to show me her laying in bed with like the black and white hair, and I'm just like, you're really trying to push her as Harley Quinn in this movie.
Yeah, not interested at all.
Agreed. I may never watch it. If my family wants to watch it, I'll watch it with them, but I will not go out of my way to watch this movie. No interest.
I don't know if this has been moved back off of the state or not, but originally supposed to come out last March. In 2020, got pushed to September of this year, and now has been moved up to May 28th. I don't know if it's still there or not. Is A Quiet Place 2, directed by John Krasinski, with Emily Blunt, Cillian Murphy, and Djimon Hounsou.
Djimon Hounsou?
Sure, let's go with that version.
Djimon Hounsou is how I've always pronounced it, but I don't know why or where I got that from. I probably made it up when I saw Amistad. I don't know.
When I had heard only good things about Quiet Place, I did not get to see it before it opened. I watched it a couple of weeks after it opened, just because of everybody saying it was a really good film. Really enjoyed the first one.
Did we not watch it together?
We did not. I think it was on completion or something.
Okay.
It's one of those movies to me that really puts you on the edge of your seat, and you're really like just anxious during the whole film. I'm hoping he can keep this up. I'm hoping he changes it a little bit, so it's not just a revisit of the exact same kind of thing.
The trailer from before COVID looked good.
Yeah, and it had some prequel aspects to it, where it's going to show you what's happening when the aliens or whatever they are first coming out of their hiding places.
Yep.
So that looks interesting to me.
I agree.
After that, The Conjuring. I don't watch a whole lot of these. I want to say I saw the second one just because I had to QC it. I didn't enjoy it. I thought it was really kind of silly and childish, because at one point it went into like a dream world or something, and it didn't work for me at all.
Never watched any of them. I'm not a big supernatural horror fan, so like The Nun, The Conjuring, all of that kind of like. I mean, I like the Amityville stuff, like the Ryan Reynolds Amityville and the original Amityville. Like those are okay to me, but like The Conjuring and The Nun and like all of that franchise and stuff, haven't really been a fan of it.
The next one that's, in my opinion, the next big one that's on the list of things that could possibly come out and be good is In the Heights.
Oh, yes.
Directed by John Chu, written taken from the musical that was written by Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yep.
And,
what's the current date on that?
Current date on that is June 11th, and it's also going to be released in HBO Max. This is something. I'm a huge musical fan. I love musicals. Always have for the last 2, 3, 4 decades now. And I think that this is literally something that could be a whole lot of fun to watch in the theaters. I like the trailer. It's entertaining. I've never listened to the musical. One of the things that I really like Lin-Manuel Miranda from a standpoint of if I don't know it and I see it in some kind of version where I can visualize what's going on that medium, I enjoy it more. Hamilton is something that I listened to a couple of times before I ever saw the musical live, and the listening to the musical version didn't work for me. It was something that was hard for me to connect to. There's so many people and so many layers of people singing over one another that it's kind of Les Miserables-like. And so, like, I couldn't differentiate who was singing on what parts and stuff. So when I got to see it live here in Indianapolis, it took my Hamilton, like, it's fine, to I really enjoy this musical. It's a whole lot of fun to watch.
Was that at the Mirage?
The Disney version, to watch the Disney version on Disney Plus is something that at least a whole lot of more people got to see it.
Oh yeah,
never would have seen it probably otherwise.
My family loved it when we watched it that way. But my question: did you watch it at Clues, or where were you at when you watched it?
It was done at the Mirage,
Okay.
Old National Center.
Whatever.
The Mirage. It was there for like 2 weeks.
Okay.
It's 2018. I want to say it was 2018. I think.
The couple of things that I want to say about Lin-Manuel Miranda are, number one, I know this is coming to HBO Max. I don't know the release date off the top of my head. I'm excited to see Tick, Tick, Boom because it's a Jonathan Larson musical. Before he did Rent, and obviously I'm a big Jonathan Larson fan. Obviously Lin-Manuel Miranda is also. So I am very excited. I've seen some songs from Tick, Tick, Boom because they're in the Rent documentary. So I'm excited to actually see what he does with that. I hope it's good. I hope it is awesome. But the other thing, Hulu has a documentary on Lin-Manuel Miranda and his group of people that he was creative with in New York. And when I watched that, that was one of the most absolutely inspirational and amazing documentaries I've seen about people creating theatrical arts. Like, his group of people and their passion and the things that they did in the 90s, like, well before Hamilton was ever a thing. Like, the people he surrounded himself with and the stuff that they were trying to do in New York City at very small venues before they created Hamilton and moved on to Hamilton, like, that documentary on HBO or on Hulu is phenomenal. It is very inspirational.
So yeah, excited for this. Directed by the guy who did Crazy Rich Asians.
Yep.
Which was honestly a fun romantic comedy.
Still haven't watched it.
It was entertaining. It was a lot of fun. Next up is the Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. Sorry. So the first movie came out, and it's Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson. And Ryan Reynolds, it's called The Hitman's Bodyguard. It's supposed to be Ryan Reynolds is protecting Samuel L. Jackson, even though he's a crooked-ass felon.
Yep.
And I remember us laughing and enjoying some aspects of it, but wanting a little bit more out of it. Selma Hayek plays Samuel L.'s wife. Apparently in this movie, she's the target, so the Hitman's wife's bodyguard. And Frank Grillo's going to be in this, which I
cool.
love quite a bit.
I haven't seen a trailer. I don't really know much. Is Samuel L. Jackson coming back?
It says that Ryan Reynolds, Samuel L. Jackson, Selma Hayek, Morgan Freeman's going to be in it.
Oh, nice.
Harris is going to be
in it. Okay.
So I'm like, this is almost like the Expendables version.
Sure.
But whatever, I'm excited to watch it. I haven't seen, there's no trailer that I know of.
Okay. I don't need to watch that in theaters. I'm fine watching that at home.
It all depends, right? Like, if we are open and we're QCing stuff, and that's the only thing that's coming out on June 16th, then I'm going to be like, yeah, let's go ahead and watch that.
Here's I'm going to preface everything with, it's a different world if I am at work and I'm watching it by myself. I will gladly watch it in the theater. Like, by myself or with you. But if it's something where I have to go out in public to watch it, like I'm fine with watching a lot of stuff by myself at home.
So the next movie up is Luca, which is the new Disney, maybe Pixar movie.
It is a Pixar movie. I watched the trailer tonight.
About a boy who turns into like a merman when he's in water, or he's a merman when he's in water, but when he comes out of water, he's a human boy.
Well, there's two of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you watch the trailer, there's two of them, and the first half of the trailer is like this boy talking about how he's gonna have the best summer ever, and this summer's gonna be great, and everything's gonna be awesome this summer. And then like you see him and his best friend that they've like built up through the first minute or two. They like ride their bikes off of a cliff, and then they land in the water, and you're like, oh, what's gonna happen to these boys? And then it shows you a shot underwater, and both of them are merman boys underwater.
Well, what I'm reading is it says the latest offering from Pixar is focusing on the title character who lives on the Italian Riviera and strikes up a friendship with another boy who is secretly a sea monster disguised as a human.
Oh, well, the trailer flat out shows you that both of them are I don't know if maybe the main merboy turns the other one into a merboy, but like halfway through the trailer, those two boys ride their bikes into the water, and both of them are mermen when they're underwater.
You know what? Pixar hardly ever makes a bad movie.
Sure.
There's a couple that are in their repertoire that I'd be like, eh.
Well, and like, I unfortunately read something yesterday that, like, as a person who has attempted to be creative in my life, I feel their pain. But apparently, because Soul went direct to Pixar, the people who were involved with Luca are demoralized at the moment because of the fact that things like Black Widow or Raya have that $30 like bonus fee you have to pay to watch it. Apparently, the guys at Pixar are like, so our stuff doesn't deserve that upcharge. And I feel for them. Like, I understand where they're coming from, and it sucks. But at the same time, I mean, it's the same stuff that HBO Max is pulling. Like, they're not giving people extra money. Like, Disney's always doing extra money with their Marvel stuff. So I don't know. It's a slippery slope of. I mean, last year / this year is definitely gonna define cinema for the next 5 to 10 years. Like,
at least, right?
Yeah.
So, like, good have a never-ending impact.
I mean, and we were just talking before we started recording that just today they announced Netflix paid $400 million for the Knives Out second and third movie, like, which won't be direct Knives Out sequels because obviously, like, that story's done, but there's still going to be Daniel Craig's character solving a new mystery. It'll be like the Agatha Christie stuff they're doing with Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah.
So it's going to be along those lines, but it's just like movie theater going in general is going to be shifting really soon, especially after what happened in 2020, especially with Netflix saying that they're going to release an original film every week in 2021. Like, and, you know, hit or miss. They released a couple of movies in 2020 that we've talked about on other podcasts. The Ben Affleck flick, the Ryan Reynolds flick. Like, Netflix is obviously paying money.
At least Netflix is running those theaters. Sometimes in theaters, though.
That's
so,
true.
Like, at least they're giving that opportunity to movie theaters to still possibly cash in on.
True.
So the next up after Luca is F9, which is supposed to be released on June 25th. I do not understand how you are pumping your fist after watching John Cena fake, like the horrible acting like he's Vin Diesel's brother. It looks atrocious. Just for him alone. And what's weird is the fact that John Cena isn't somebody who I would be like, he's got no acting ability. He looks absolutely horrible. In this movie, he looks absolutely horrible. It looks like he has no acting ability.
You know why I'm pumping my fists? I'm pumping my fists because John Cho is coming back to direct it.
No, Justin.
Or Justin Cho, sorry.
Justin Lin.
Yeah, that guy. I got my Asian directors mixed up. So Justin Lin is coming back to direct it, so he can bring Han back, so that he can address the fact that Jason Statham should not have been at the barbecue at the end of the 8th movie. Like, I mean, it is what it is, dude. It's like the people that want to argue Lost with me. Like, I love Lost. Lost is an amazing television show. At the end of the day, Lost is about a magical island that can do magical things. So when you're like, how did the island do this? It's because it's magic. The same thing happens with the Fast and the Furious franchise. It's magic. It's ridiculous. Nothing in the movie. Like, first movie, phenomenal. Amazing first film. After that, it's literally like, what can we make cars do that they can't really do? Like, do you remember the 6th or 7th movie? They drove a car from one building out the window, and it crashed into the next door building. That was the 7th? Yes. Like, that's not possible. But in the same way that I enjoy the Mission Impossible movies, and I go, that's not really possible in Mission Impossible.
No. At least Mission Impossible, like, kind of bends the laws of reality. It's like a tiny bit.
Oh, well, these bends the laws of physics really badly.
The Fast and Furious series, it needs to go away.
No, it doesn't!
Hobbs and Shaw was horrible.
I don't count that.
So, we're gonna skip.
I'm excited for Fast 9. I will be the first person, however I can watch it, in the theater, at home, on a bootleg. Like, give me Fast 9 as soon as you can.
I'm personally excited. And it's mainly because of the fact that the way they shot this next movie.
Alright.
Me super excited. This was supposed to come out last year. It didn't come out last year because of COVID. It is the sequel to a movie that has not had a sequel in 30 years. It is Top Gun Maverick.
Okay.
I'm okay. So, if anybody's ever listened to me on this podcast, you know that Tom Cruise is somebody I'm willing to watch in almost any movie whatsoever. Just because he's in the movie, he is entertaining. The movie might suck, but he is entertaining.
You're guaranteed running.
Guaranteed running. I will watch every Mission Impossible movie because even if it's improbable, it's entertaining for me. Edge of Tomorrow is something that was way better than I ever thought it was going to be. But Top Gun Maverick has Tom Cruise in it. It's got Jennifer Connelly in it. It's got Val Kilmer coming back. And then they have Miles Teller playing the son
of Goose.
Of Anthony Edwards Goose. So I am completely on board with this. Not that, but they also shot stuff from actual cockpits while the actors were in these cockpits while they were flying around. So here we are talking about something that's like Godzilla vs. Kong, where it's nothing but a CGI orgy for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, whatever these may be. Here we are getting actual filming of people doing these things, which is Tom Cruise's thing, right? Like, the last Mission Impossible movie that was released, Fallout. Like, he broke his ankle while he was filming that movie. If you ever have had an inkling to watch it on YouTube, it looks painful as fuck.
He's jumping from one building to another, like literally jumping from a building.
And he breaks his ankle, and then he just gets up and he walks past the camera anyway, even though he broke his ankle doing it. Tom Cruise.
Well, and the most recent one was the one where he was hanging onto the side of the airplane.
That was before that.
That was the one before it? Yeah. Fallout? Was that Rogue Nation? Okay. Yeah, one of them, he's, like, there's literally the camera mounted on the side of the airplane and him holding onto the side of the airplane as it's taking off, and he did all of that.
He's a crazy motherfucker.
Yeah.
I love him. Right? And, again, I don't think he's a great actor, but I think he does really, really well with his movies whenever he does. So,
he was amazing in Jerry Maguire.
Yeah. I'm excited for Top Gun Maverick.
I agree.
I'm not a huge fan of the original. I like the original.
I love the original. I hope James Tolkien comes back in this one.
I just got Top Gun on Blu-ray in 3D, which I am excited to finally watch that for the 3D conversion.
So of your 4 3D movies you've already watched that you told me about, this wasn't one of them?
No, this was one of the ones. This is out of the 6 3D movies I bought this week. 4 of them were things I had previously.
Oh yeah, okay, that's what it was.
I didn't have to pay for my original Blu-ray of this. I got it from Justin.
Okay.
When he
Blockbuster. The Blockbuster fiasco. Time out. Let's tangent real quick. Speaking of Blockbuster, the Hulu documentary, The Last Blockbuster, is absolutely amazing. What?
On Netflix, not on.
Okay, fine. The Netflix documentary, The Last Blockbuster, is absolutely amazing. So fun. I have told my wife we are adding it to my bucket list. I've already started looking up flights to go this year because of the fact that they might not be open next year. I've told her, like, what's that?
That sucks. They might
well, so in the documentary, like, I don't want to ruin anything, but I'm going to have to, like, you find out that they got a 1-year renewal at the end of the documentary, which ends, like, late in 2020. So they're guaranteed to be a Blockbuster until, like, October, November of 2021. But then they're going to have to apply again to be a Blockbuster again. So I've already been like, we're going this year. Like, I'm going to make it happen. I don't know when, but we're going to find a time to go to Bend, Oregon, because I want to get, like, the documentary is great. And a famous person, Doug Benson, visits it in the documentary. He takes pictures and sends them to other famous people where he's like, just so you know, your movie or your stand-up thing is in the last Blockbuster ever, and it's pretty cool. It's a great documentary, a lot of fun. But I have now added going there on my bucket list. Hopefully going to make it happen this year.
After Tom Cruise and Top Gun Part 2, we're looking at Peter Rabbit 2, Runaway.
That didn't already come out?
No, it didn't come out. It's coming out July 2nd. It's coming out the same day as Top Gun Maverick.
Okay.
It's a family movie that day. I have to say, I enjoyed the first one for what it was. It's nothing great. It's fine.
I don't remember if I saw. I don't think I saw it.
What's the girl? Who's the woman in it? It's Emma. No, it's Rose Byrne. Sorry.
Okay.
I think she's just adorable. So, first one was kind of silly and fun, and then this one seems like it's going to probably follow the same line.
Nice.
After that, we have the movie that everybody, as far as nerdom goes, has been waiting a year
and a half. Well, a year and a couple of months.
Yep. Is Black Widow on July 9th. So,
here's the thing I'm going to tell you. If our theater isn't open, and if our sister theater doesn't get this movie, I'm paying $30 to watch this movie the first minute that I can. I will be awake at 3 a.m. They can charge me $30. I am so excited for Black Widow that I can't wait to watch it. And again, I am happy with my living room TV.
I will be watching it on July 8th, probably because they'll release it at 7 o'clock on July 8th instead of July 9th. And I will be in the theater watching it for the very first time.
Okay, but if you can go, if we can go to it, oh man, that's gonna be a lot of people though.
You'll have your COVID shot for months.
You're right. We should be open by then. We should get to watch it days before. Like, and I don't see any reason why our theater wouldn't be reopened by this point.
If we're not open by this point, we're not open.
And that's unfortunately the sad reality that I'm. Like, when I was at Godzilla vs. Kong tonight and seeing how busy they are, and I'm like, our theater could have been open for Godzilla vs. Kong. Like, why aren't we open? Like, it's a sad reality that if we don't open in the next couple of weeks, like, our company might just be done with us.
Yep. That's a very good possibility.
It's a very sad reality, and I don't know why they haven't revealed that to us yet.
Well, and who knows? Maybe they have a plan. Let's hope they do. So here we go with Black Widow, the next MCU movie. I know that I will be excited to watch it in the theater, not at home.
I will watch it wherever I can, the first minute that I can. If that's a theater, I'm all about it. But if I'm at home at 3 a.m. when that movie comes out, I'm dropping $30 and I am watching it at 3 a.m. because I want to see it that badly. And you know what? That means I own it for as long as I have Disney Plus, so I can watch it 15 times if I want to.
Yeah, I'd rather watch it on the big screen for the first time. I can't do it at home the first time. So side note to that. Next one up, we got Space Jam.
Boom!
A new legacy with LeBron James, or Jabron Lames, as Shane calls him.
Jabron Lames, dude.
And Don Cheadle. And this is July 16th. My kids are going to be so freaking happy to watch this movie, man.
Have you heard the plot of this movie?
I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter.
Why does it not matter? The plot sounds retarded.
Tom and Jerry's plot is stupid. Plot for a movie. This, I don't care what the plot is. It's LeBron James playing the Moon Stars again. Like, I don't care what the problem is.
He's not.
Okay.
He's not playing the Moon Stars. He's
alright, tell me.
Apparently, there's a computer hacker who goes around and hacks and creates basketball players from computer hacks. So they're playing CGI digital computer hacks that this hacker has created. It has nothing to do with the Monstars. They're not back. They're all CGI. Yes, and it has to do with LeBron James' son is the one that figures all this out. And so in order to bond with his son, he has to go play these computer CGI characters that this computer CGI bad guy has created from computer CGI DNA.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So no, the Monstars aren't involved in it. The Monstars were at least cool. They stole Charles Barkley's personality.
Okay, alright. I will agree with you.
This sounds terrible.
Horrible. But you know what? One of my sons loves Super Mario Brothers, the movie. So
all right, here. Let me read to you the online blog. When basketball champion and global icon LeBron James and his son Dom, played by Cedric Joe, who dreams of being a video game developer, are trapped in a virtual space by a rogue algorithm named AIG Rhythm, played by Don Cheadle, LeBron must get them home safely by leading Bugs, Daffy, Porky Pig, and Lola Bunny and the whole gang of notoriously undisciplined Looney Tunes to a victory over AIG's digital champions on the court. So they're updating themselves by making it all about CGI and alternate reality and video games, and he has to bond with his son because his son wants to be a video game developer. No, that plot sounds absolutely stupid.
I will agree.
Sorry. No interest at all.
Moon Stars again or Monstars. I'm so pumped for that.
The Monstars were so great. They were tiny little bullshit aliens that stole the powers of actual basketball players that turned them into big aliens.
I'm right there with you.
I love the first movie. No, this one's all about CGI video games and alternate reality.
So then we have some movie called Old by M. Night Shyamalan.
That trailer's insane. Have you seen the trailer?
I have not.
Dude, the trailer's crazy. It's got like a mom and dad that take their 9 or 10-year-old child to this beach, and they're hanging out on this beach, and then all of a sudden, their child, I can't remember if it's a boy or a girl, I think it's a girl, their child comes over to them, and she's like a 20-year-old girl, and they're like, what?
WandaVision. With the
okay, sure, but so their child comes to them, and she's like 20 at that point, and they're like, hey, who are you? What? You're not our child. And then they look at each other, and they're like 70 years old.
Holy crap!
Yeah, and then they look around on the beach, and when the trailer starts, it shows you this beach of young people and kids playing on the beach and stuff like that. After this realization moment, they look around and everybody's in their 70s. All the kids that were playing around are in their 30s or 40s. It's apparently about this beach where you age super fast. And the fact that it's from Shyamalan makes me ooh, what could you be bringing? Because I've been a big fan of his Apple TV series he's been doing called Servant, where he hasn't been writing and directing them, but like he like oversaw the concept of it, and he's got other people that are writing and directing the episodes. But like that show's been very Shyamalan to me. Like it's got a lot of weird stuff that goes on. It's got a very good overall arcing story, and I'm like, I've really been enjoying Servant on Apple Plus. So for Shyamalan to come back and do a movie where in the trailer you've got people like aging 30 or 40 years, I'm all in. Like I'm very excited for this movie. I hope it's Shyamalan going back to Sixth Sense Shyamalan.
Okay. Next up, we see is Jungle Cruise, based on the Walt Disney World ride. Comes out July 30th. It's got Emily Blunt and Dwayne Johnson in it. Edgar Ramirez shows up, and so does Paul Giamatti, apparently. So, yeah, just like them traveling down a riverway and them being on a boat. I don't hate this idea. The trailer I saw for it, the poster I saw for it, are both something that is entertaining enough for me that I'd be happy to take my kids to go watch this movie.
When the first trailer came out a year and a half ago, I remember thinking, okay, cool, like, I'll watch it. Like, I like The Rock, I enjoy him, but I don't remember going, oh, I'm really excited about this. Like, I'll watch it. It's not something I would pay for. I don't know. Like, we'll see. I may or may not end up seeing it.
Next up that I'm looking at on this list that I'm okay with is The Suicide Squad.
Yes.
Directed by James Gunn. And what I mean by okay with this is that I'm willing to talk about it. I'm not interested in this movie as much as I want to.
Really?
James Gunn is fun and entertaining, but like it really bothers me that they're literally bringing back so many people on a reboot that it makes no sense to me whatsoever.
It makes no sense to you, but I'm gonna throw this out there. I feel like 70% of these big name casts that they brought in are gonna die within 2 minutes of being brought in.
Okay. Well,
I think that's why there's 30 people listed as like the main cast, because I feel like the Suicide Squad part of it is gonna be, oh hey look, there's Nathan Fillion. Oh, he's playing like whoever, I don't remember who Nathan Fillion is playing. Nathan Fillion. Oh, that's awesome. And 2 minutes later, I'm gonna go, oh my god, Nathan Fillion's dead.
So you think they're gonna go Deadpool 2 on here?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like the Suicide Squad aspect is probably going to open with, here's 6 or 7 of these characters that you don't know anything about, and here's their opening mission, and they're going to go in and do this, and all 7 of them are going to fail, and they're all going to die. And maybe Nathan Fillion's in that opening scene, and he's the last guy standing, and he's about to kill all the last people, and then something happens to him, and he dies. And that's all we're going to see of Nathan Fillion in this movie. I feel like the people that we see a lot in the trailer, like Stallone as King Shark, David Dastmalchian as Polka Dot Man, Rick Flag's back, obviously, Harley Quinn's back, obviously, Idris Elba is replacing Will Smith. Like, I feel like those 5 and a couple other characters are going to be the ones that actually last. What's his name from Mallrats? Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, Michael Rooker. I feel like Michael Rooker will probably last most of the movie. But I feel like of these 30 names that they're giving us, 15 of them die within 2 minutes of being put on screen.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of what they're going for with this movie. I think that's kind of in James Gunn's wheelhouse of, oh my god, I want to introduce all these ridiculous characters. And because his brother Sean is playing like the Weasley-looking, the fake Rocket character for this movie, I feel like a lot of them are just going to die very quickly. It's like, oh, this movie's called Suicide Squad, and here's the lesser-known characters that we're like pimping out to you, but they're not going to last very long. And then those last 7 or 8 characters will be the ones that actually make it to the end.
I haven't enjoyed this. Like I like Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, but I haven't enjoyed a single movie that Harley Quinn's been in so far. Because the Suicide Squad was just long.
Yeah.
Like, not well. It wasn't well executed. It wasn't a good thought out.
Well, and there's the big thing right now. People are trying to push for the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. Which, so David Ayer was originally supposed to do Suicide Squad. Apparently, did a bunch of stuff. Right, and then they brought in James Gunn after he got fired from Disney and all that stuff. So apparently, there's the we want the David Ayer version of Suicide Squad, and I'm curious to see what that would be. But apparently, Warner Brothers has said there's 0% chance of that happening, which sucks. Because like you were saying earlier, why not just give us these things that we want? If you've already filmed everything and David Ayer did one cut of this movie, let us see that. Do a multiverse thing where it doesn't have to be canon. They're claiming that Zack Snyder's
already done the multiverse thing with releasing Joker and everything else.
Yeah, well, and they're claiming that the Joss Whedon version of Justice League is canon for the DCEU. So the Zack Snyder version doesn't really matter. Nothing that happens in that movie affects what they're trying to do as a DCEU. And it's who cares? You release 30 cartoons a year. None of them have to do anything with it. You released 6 Batman cartoons in the last year or two. None of them are canonically linked to each other. Just do what Marvel won't do and do like you did with the Joker. The Joker is not canon in any of the other Batman movies, or the Michael Keaton Batman, or the Heath Ledger Batman. None of these Jokers are linked together. Just put stuff out like comic books. And I know they tried to reboot everything with the New 52, and that obviously failed because they've already split off again. But you've got different variations of the same character. Just give me the David Ayer version of Suicide Squad. What did he want the movie to be? I'm interested in that as a viewer.
Next up on our list is Free Guy, directed by Sean Levy, with Ryan Reynolds and Taika Waititi in it. That's supposed to be August 13th. Now, this is an interesting concept. It reminds me of Boss Level somewhat.
Sure.
But Ryan Reynolds plays a non-playable character in a video game, and he ends up becoming self-aware, and he ends up constantly stepping on things that he shouldn't be stepping on, essentially causing problems. So it looks funny.
Looks fun.
The Deadpool aspect of it, Ryan Reynolds' humor and self-awareness is something that looks like it could be a whole lot of fun in this movie.
100% agree. Looking forward to it. Don't have really high expectations for it. Kind of like with The Hitman's Bodyguard, when we watched that, I was kind of I love Ryan Reynolds, I love Sam Jackson, but I don't know how this is going to work. And I was mildly entertained with it. I'm hoping for entertainment.
Bodyguard was the fact that all the really funny things were already in the trailer.
You very much true. I hope that's not the case for this movie.
Next up after that is Respect, directed by starring Jennifer Hudson, playing Aretha Franklin.
Oh, okay.
We know Shane's not going to like this movie.
I'm probably not going to watch the movie. No offense to Aretha Franklin. It's a biopic. I would rather watch a documentary on the real Aretha Franklin than watch somebody playing Aretha Franklin.
If we are opening Glendale, this will be a huge draw for Glendale.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
After that, the next one I like is Candyman, August 27th.
Yes.
This is an imagining sequel-esque kind of to the original 1 or 2 Candyman movies. I'm not sure exactly if it's the first one and then going to this, or 1, 2, or 1, 2, and 3 and then going to this, whatever the case may be. This is Jordan Peele came out and said they needed to reclaim the Candyman series for African Americans.
Which is weird, because Candyman 3 is legit, go to Louisiana, voodoo, black,
Wasn't that something that took, it was a prequel, essentially, right? Remember, Farewell to the Flesh.
Yeah. Kind of a prequel, but still a sequel. It had to do with the origins of, where the Candyman character came from, but it was his, great-granddaughter that was having the premonitions and things like that, while still Candyman was being involved in it.
I'm super pumped for this movie, though, because this looks like it could, this reimagining could be something awesome.
Yeah.
Nia DaCosta is the one who's directing it.
What's the main black dude's name?
So
Yaha
Abdul Mateen.
Yes.
The second.
So that dude is playing the baby of Vivica A. Fox. In the very first movie, Vivica A. Fox is pregnant. He is playing her child, grown up, and moves back to the gentrified Cabrini Green.
Okay, interesting.
So
I'm all for it. I love the first Candyman movie. The second one, I don't remember. I don't know if I've ever seen the third one. I know I've seen the second one. It wasn't as interesting as the second as the first.
The second one was Farewell to the Flesh. I can't remember the subtitle of the third one, but the third one was the one in Louisiana where somehow one of his relatives is involved, but it's dealing with the Candyman character's legacy before he became Candyman in Chicago.
So then we're looking at the next big movie after that, another MCU movie that's been on the burner for a while. It's no lie. It's coming out September 3rd instead. It's Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Now, Shane and I have been pumped for the Ten Rings to have been a real thing.
Yes.
It's the first Iron Man movie. We've talked about it at numerous lengths with ourselves, between ourselves. This is something that it's directed by Destin
Daniel Creighton. Yep.
And if you've ever watched his movies, I hope that you've enjoyed them. Shane was friends with, or Shane is friends with Brett Pollock, who was most of the time Destin's director of photography.
And because one of their first movies they did together was Short Term 12, which they did in film school together. They remade it. They did a short film version of it. It's like 20 minutes long. They remade it as a feature film with Brie Larson, and Brett became very good friends with Brie Larson. So her directorial debut, which I'm drawing a blank on right now, but her directorial debut, Brett was also the director of photography on that. And I remember the day that Daniel Destin Creighton was announced as the director of Shang-Chi, I texted Brett and I said, "Bro, are you going to be a DP in a Marvel movie? ? And he responded with, "I'm still waiting to find out." It unfortunately didn't happen. Marvel went with a much more professional director. Not more professional. I love you, Brett. They went with somebody with a longer history of doing action films.
So Daniel Creighton had also done Just Mercy.
Yep.
He's done Glass House. He's done a bunch of other movies. And,
a lot of movies with Brie Larson.
All of them have Brie Larson in them.
Yep.
All of them have Brett Pollock doing the
director of photography. Yep.
So this was a movie that I'm excited to see what angle they're going to go with this.
Let me pitch you something real quick. This is what I want the opening scene to be. The pre-Marvel scene, like, fade in from black. I want you to show me a helicopter landing. I want you to show me Scoot McNairy and Ben Kingsley getting off of a helicopter. And I want them going in front of, I don't remember the guy that's playing the actual Mandarin. I want them going in front of him. And I want the actual Mandarin to kill Ben Kingsley in the opening scene. I want them to set the tone that the Mandarin...
What was that one shot called?
All Hail the King.
All Hail the King, yes.
All Hail the King.
A complete continuation of that.
Exactly. So, like I said, I want Scoot McNairy and Ben Kingsley getting off a helicopter. He just broke him out of prison that we saw in All Hail the King. I want him to go before the Mandarin, and I want the real Mandarin with his 10 rings to say a line of, you tried to take my name, nobody does that, and just kill Ben Kingsley off. Like, just immediately, just kill Trevor. And be like, this is the real Mandarin. And as soon as he, like, has his security guy with a scimitar or something, like, slice his head off, go to the Marvel logo. Like, just show me in the first couple of minutes of Shang-Chi that the Mandarin is not somebody to fuck with.
I totally agree with you on that. I would love for something like that to happen. After that MCU movie, we're looking at Reminiscent.
What is that?
Reminiscence. Hugh Jackman and Rebecca Ferguson re-team up to do this movie. It's going to be a release that's also on HBO Max on the same day, September 3rd. Stars in a sci-fi drama set in a flooded near-future Miami about a man who offers people the chance to relive any memory.
Oh, this sounds like a sci-fi novel I would write.
Absolutely.
Oh.
And Hugh Jackman and Rebecca Ferguson both were in Great Showman.
Yep.
I think she is absolutely gorgeous and amazing to look at. But Hugh Jackman is always entertaining to watch. I watched Bad Education. That's something I forgot to mention.
I think you talked about it on the last podcast with Jaybird.
I don't think I talked about it, did I?
I think you did. I think you mentioned it because I remember hearing you say that you watched it. Okay. And I remember Jaybird talking about it.
Well, I think I got prompted by him. I don't remember if I talked about it or not, but it was an entertaining movie. Oh, you're right. We discussed it real quick. So that's going on, and then after that, we're looking at Boss Baby 2, which is in September.
Nope, never watch it.
Venom: Let There Be Carnage comes out September 24th.
And we don't have a trailer for it yet? That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's September, and who knows if it gets moved, right? So you're looking at Tom Hardy, Michelle Williams, Woody Harrelson, Naomi Harris, and Stephen Grant.
Stephen Grant, okay. I mean, I'll watch it. I thought the first Venom was better than I expected, so I'll watch this one.
Yeah, the first Venom was better than I expected. It's still not as good as I wanted it to be.
I'm assuming they're going to open it up to what are they called? The symbiote whatever. Like, I'm sure we're going to get Anti-Venom and Scream and yeah, like I'm sure they're going to open it up and do like I can't remember. I know it's
they're bringing Tom Holland at all. I hope.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I hope they don't, but they're going to have to bridge it some way, probably.
Yeah.
Dune comes out October 1st. That's going to be HBO Max release as well. That's the new version of Dune, directed by Denis
Villeneuve. Yeah.
The trailer looks entertaining enough that I'd be willing to watch it.
Yeah, I'll watch it on the big screen. Because I'm a David Lynch fan, I do like the original Dune. I like Kyle MacLachlan. Like, I like what the original Dune was. This obviously is 30 years later with 30 years of CGI technology, so I'm sure I'll be like blah about it, but it's one, if I don't watch it at the theater with you, I don't care about watching it at home. Like, it's the Dune story again, updated.
Well, and what's interesting is obviously we're here in April, and we're looking at things that are coming out this year.
Yeah.
And things can obviously be fluid and move constantly. One of the things that's coming out apparently on October 8th is Morbius, which I'm kind of interested in. Jared Leto he's a crazy method actor, and I think he's awesome at doing what he does. Tyrese Gibson is apparently in this movie. It's a continuation of the Venom universe, essentially.
Oh, okay.
Instead of the Spider-Man universe, because Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man. In case you're not aware of that, the MCU only borrows Spider-Man from Sony, essentially, because of the fact that before the MCU got created, Marvel was selling off certain properties to different things. This is why the Fox system had Fantastic Four and the X-Men. Sony has never let go of Spider-Man, which is smart for them because Spider-Man makes a whole lot of money for them. So Far From Home and Homecoming were both Sony properties that were written and directed by MCU people. But now we're getting into Morbius, which is a continuation of the Venom universe. Who knows if they'll ever bring Tom Holland's Spider-Man into this or not? But you're looking at Morbius. Morbius is a guy who's trying to fix himself because he's hurt in a way, and he ends up becoming a vampire so that he can survive and become a human again. Well, a human-esque again. I think he has cancer. He has some debilitated disease ailing him. Again, Jared Leto's really entertaining emotional movies.
Agreed.
So I'm willing to watch this and find it entertaining.
Well, and the weird thing was like, when it was announced, I didn't care about it. I was like, oh, okay, like this is Sony trying to make, Marvel money or whatever. But that first trailer that came out like a year and a half ago now, like in October of 19 or whatever, that first trailer that came out made me go, oh, well, this looks like something I'd be interested in. Like, this looks cool. Like, I'd be down for this. So, I've only ever seen that first trailer, but I'm still in, but I'm not going to lie. If this is an HBO Max movie, I'm watching it at home if I can. Like,
it's not. It's Sony.
Okay, yeah. So I'll have to go out to watch it. But in September, hopefully the world's better than it is.
October.
They're even longer.
So next up is October 8th, the same day Morbius is getting out. As of right now, No Time to Die, the next James Bond film, is coming out.
Oh my god!
We've done some James. We did a couple of James Bond episodes.
Yep.
I have not cared at all since Daniel Craig has done Casino Royale. I have not given a flying fuck about any movie since then. They're there. They exist. They are law to me. I find who is it that plays his quasi brother?
Yeah. The dude from Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah, Christoph Waltz.
Christoph Waltz. Thank you.
I don't find him entertaining as the bad guy. Like, I never.
Well, like Rami Malek is the real bad guy right now. Like,
I really don't care. I will watch this just because I've seen every other James Bond movie.
Yep.
But just like all of them, literally, the only one I've ever watched more than once that stars Ray Fiennes as James Bond is Casino Royale.
Ray Fiennes is M.
Literally every single other one besides Casino Royale I've only watched one time in the theater, and I've never been entertained enough to ever think about watching them more than once.
You misspoke and said Ray Fiennes when you meant Daniel Craig.
Sorry, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Right now.
You said Ray Fiennes and he plays M, but yeah, you.
But yeah, Ray Fiennes is what's on my screen right now.
Sure.
So Craig is the one that I was thinking of. But next after that.
What's after that?
I'm super stoked.
Okay.
So it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Halloween Kills comes out October
100%
anyone.
Oh.
Super pumped. Jamie Lee Curtis, Judy Greer playing her daughter.
Yes. The trailer's good.
I really enjoyed Halloween
when
they rebooted it, or whatever you want to call this version, just the latest came out. I thought it was really entertaining. It makes no sense because he should have died in the basement, but it is Michael Myers, so let's go ahead and throw caution to the wind.
I mean, the trailer answers that question. Like, as they're driving away, the firemen are already showing up to put out the fire. Like,
no. That dude should have been burned to a crisp and fucking dead. Like, there's no question.
I mean, in the first movie, he got shot 6 times and fell out of a balcony. He should have died from that.
Good call. All right.
He's the Shape. But yes, I'm 100% on board. I can't wait. That was one of those movies that last year I was crossing my fingers and praying they were just going to release it digitally. I would have paid $100 for them to release it digitally for me to watch it last year. The fact that it was done and available and I could have watched it last October, I would have paid $100 to watch it last year. Like, I don't care about watching it at home. I wanted to see that movie so bad.
I don't know anything about this next one.
Okay.
Except what I'm going to read to you.
Okay.
Which makes me go, holy shit, sign me up now.
Okay.
I'm totally pumped. Next movie is called The Last Duel. It's directed by Ridley Scott. Listen to this cast.
Okay.
Matt Damon, Ben Affleck.
Yes.
Adam Driver. I am totally on board. This is already a touchdown as far as I'm concerned. I am fucking pumped for this movie.
Let me ruin your pumpedness.
I didn't read about this until I got to this. Until I'm on this list right now. It says 2 years since Ridley Scott did the unthinkable and reshot all the money in the world weeks before its release date. If you remember, that was because of the stupid crap. Or not the stupid
Kevin
crap.
Spacey.
Sorry, Kevin Spacey getting into trouble because he's Kevin Spacey. Weeks before its release date, but this time around he'll be racing against history with this Edwardian tale of knights and maidens. Ben Affleck, Matt Damon reunite with Killing Eve's breakout star Jodie Comer filling out that. All I can tell you is Ben Affleck's the bomb for Phantom Show.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Down 100% for Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, best friends for decades. I'm super stoked to watch this movie. I really don't care what it is.
Can I tell you how stupid it is now, though?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Cool. It's set in 14th century France. There are already pictures online that I have seen of both Ben and Matt in their 14th century armor, because Ben Affleck plays King Charles VI, who orders Matt Damon to fight Adam Driver to the death because apparently Matt Damon slept with Adam Driver's wife.
Okay. Literally. This is Ridley Scott, one of the best directors of all time.
Sure. But doing a period piece with Ben Affleck as a kid, don't get me wrong, I'll watch it. And I hope the trailer is better than what it sounds, but first of all, 14th Century is apparently a biopic, in my opinion, because I'm really not interested in it. And seeing the pictures of the three of the main characters in their, 14th century armor garb doesn't do it for me. I'm not hyped for this movie. I love the people involved in it, and it looks like it's going to be The Messenger to me.
Did you ever watch The Great Wall?
I never watched the entire movie. I started it on whatever streaming service it was on, and I couldn't get through it. For whatever reason, I didn't watch. I think you watched it at work, and I didn't. But
I did. And it was so much more fun than I thought it was going to be.
Matt Damon as an archer, just couldn't. 30 minutes in, dude, I couldn't buy it.
Dude.
I couldn't buy it.
Much fun with that movie. That movie was an unexpected joy for me.
That's as bad. That movie, when I watched it, made me think of The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise. And when you want to tell me that a white dude is the last samurai in China or Japan, I can't buy that. I couldn't get into Matt Damon being an amazing Asian archer.
He's not an Asian archer. He's a European archer. He was in Asia. Totally different.
I couldn't buy it.
Moving on. Next one. Even though you're not psyched for that, I am, because it's Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Who cares? Next one that I'm stoked for comes out October 22nd. And while they have made 2 of these movies already, and both of them were not very good, this one has me somewhat stoked. And it makes me really sad that it's not Ray Park playing this character again, but I kind of understand, because they're probably going to take off his mask a lot in this movie, is Snake Eyes.
Oh, okay.
But
Henry Golding
is playing Snake Eyes, which doesn't make much sense, because if I remember correctly, in the comic books and the movie, the comic books and the cartoons, he was a white dude who just happened to be in Japan and got trained as a ninja. He wasn't an Asian dude at all.
And the thing that's going to bother me about it, and number one, I don't care that Henry Golding is an Asian dude. What's going to bother me is the fact that they cast a attractive male, because they're not going to have Snake Eyes in his mask the 100% of the movie. Well, that's what pisses me off.
That's where I was going to get. It's like, here you go. Here's a guy who never wears. In the lore of G.I. Joe, he always has his mask on. He's always a mute.
Mm-hmm.
So here you are. You're probably going to make a movie where he's going to he's going to talk.
Yep.
He's going to have his mask on because he's an attractive male. Henry Golding's an attractive dude.
Exactly.
His mask is going to be off. He's going to be talking. It's like, dude, he literally, if I remember correctly, it's been a very long time. He literally, the only word I've ever heard come out of his mouth was Scarlet. And it was when Scarlet got hurt.
Yep.
All were fighting somebody, fighting Cobra in the comic book series. He screamed because she got blown up, essentially. And that's literally the only time he ever spoke. And
Even in like the 2005 or 6 like reboot of the comic of Snake Eyes, he does speak. It's like old Snake Eyes, and he has all of his armor off and whatnot. But like the one word that he says is something related to Scarlet before he puts all of his armor back on, like essentially retaking up the Snake Eyes mantle. But here's my other thing that I'm going to say about this. Why is Carl Urban better than Sylvester Stallone?
Because he leaves the mask on the entire movie.
Exactly. Like, when you're gonna do a comic book character, like, there are certain things that you have to attribute to that character. The first Judge Dredd was an abysmal film. Like, I get it, like, Stallone and Rob Schneider liked working together, so, like, they made that movie.
Abysmal.
Monica, I mean this with all sincerity. This food is abysmal. But yes, so like when Judge Dredd came out in '95, like, cool, Judge Dredd is on screen as Sylvester Stallone, and we find out that he's like, they did a twins thing with him and Armand Asante, like, cool, like, blah. In 2006 or 8, when we got Dredd with Carl Urban, that's what Judge Dredd was supposed to be. Granted, it's the exact same plot as Raid Redemption, but I'll forgive them because both films were amazingly well done, especially as a Judge Dredd movie.
Yeah.
So, I'm hopeful for Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes is my favorite character. I literally, like, on my desk, I have my Snake Eyes bust. Like, Snake Eyes is my dude. I hope that they do this character right. But the casting of Henry Golding is a bummer because, like you said, he's a very attractive Asian male. Like, they're going to... I mean, if they do flashback origin scenes of him as himself on the beach, like, buff and working out and, like, pumping iron and, like, doing ninja stuff, I'm cool with that. But once he becomes Snake Eyes after Zartan fake murders his boss, and then, or his mentor, and Storm Shadow and him have their falling out, like, I'm number one, I hope Storm Shadow's in this movie. I don't know if he is or not, I haven't looked at the casting list. I hope Storm Shadow is somehow involved in this movie, because Storm Shadow was okay in the 2 G.I. Joe movies we got, but in the second G.I. Joe movie, they did their best to do their origin story, like, of him, like, being adopted by the Arasaji clan, and, like, him becoming the better student over Storm Shadow. I hope this movie does that justice, because I'm very afraid of having a very attractive and well-built dude in Henry Golding, who I loved in the movie he did with Imogen Potts, the Christmas movie. That movie was a lot of fun. It was... I can't remember what it's called now.
Gosh. But he's also great in Crazy Rich Asians. He's also really
Which I still haven't seen.
The Gentleman.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch that yet?
I did. I started it. I honestly haven't finished it. I started it because you were praising it, and I can't remember what happened, but I stopped, I think, like 30 minutes in, and then I haven't finished it yet. But what I saw was good, and it's Guy Ritchie good. Like, Guy Ritchie obviously has a style, and obviously does certain things, like with Snatched and whatnot, that work really well. What was the Guy Ritchie movie he did recently that I didn't enjoy? Guy Ritchie made an American film, and I didn't enjoy it as much. Well, no, it's not that one.
Yellow Homes. Those were the two that you really...
I hated those. Filmography.
We were on Snake Eyes.
Yeah, hold on, just real quick. Guy Ritchie did... Oh, yeah, King Arthur, Legend of the Sword.
I actually like that movie quite a bit.
And The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I didn't like either of those. You liked Man from U.N.C.L.E.?
No, I did not.
No, okay. Man from U.N.C.L.E. and King Arthur, I didn't like either one of those.
So.
Real quick, Henry Golding. before we move on,
It was
just need to
past
go.
Christmas.
Last Christmas. There we go. Yeah, Last Christmas. Him and Imogen Potts. I really enjoyed that movie.
All based on the freaking
Wham song?
not Wham, but yes, Wham, but George Michael.
George Michael, yeah.
There was a bunch of George Michael songs.
Yes.
I never saw it, but you mentioned it. So.
I like it as a Christmas movie, but its last 20 minutes are some of the stupidest, cheesiest shit that I just can't support. But overall, I enjoy the movie. Like it's just the last 20 minutes I don't enjoy.
I don't know what this is. I'm just reading about it now.
Okay.
November 5th.
Yep.
Baz Luhrmann, who I really enjoy his style, is directing Tom Hanks and a guy named Austin Butler in an untitled Elvis movie. So
Wait, what?
it's a biopic about Elvis, apparently.
With
So
Tom Hanks as Elvis?
No. Tom Hanks is not Elvis. He's
Oh.
supporting.
Oh, okay.
Austin Butler is Elvis, but I don't know anything else about this movie. But Baz Luhrmann, I enjoy watching his movies. He's hit and miss. I like Romeo and Juliet. I like Moulin Rouge. I did not like Australia.
No.
It was very drawn out and very boring to me. So, right after that, though, the same day that gets released is our third MCU movie this year.
Ooh, yeah, and I'm excited.
This is weird to me because this is one of those movies that kind of like it reminds me of how I felt about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Real quick, according to what I'm looking up, that Elvis film has been pushed to 2022. Warner Brothers scheduled it for June 3rd of 2022.
Okay.
So the list you're looking at, I don't think has been updated.
Which is weird. This was updated like 2 hours ago. So
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. Eternals is coming out on November the 5th. Now, this is literally, in my opinion, one of those movies that could really be a bad thing for the MCU if they don't hit it out properly.
Agreed. I think they're going to use this film to make us empathize Thanos now.
I don't know. I don't care. I'm hoping that it's good. That's all I really
Sure.
want. Angelina Jolie, Salma Hayek,
Camille and Johnny.
Kumail Nanjiani. So like it's one of those things where like this has the potential to be something cool and
Yeah.
different, and I'm bored with that in the MCU because they have been on. Shane and I have mentioned it many times how they have a formula. It works for them, but it doesn't always work for Shane and I. So.
Well, and it's a bummer because, like we discussed, like the end of WandaVision ended up being which versus which. My biggest problem with the MCU is always that they do whatever the main character's power is, that's what the villain is. And I've loved the first 2 episodes of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but what have they gone up against? Super Soldier Enhanced Serum bad guys. Like, that's what you're giving me. Like, it's not like they're going up against, I don't know, Pimtech bad guys or alien bad guys. It's, here's guys with Super Soldier Serum that we're going to put up against Super Soldier Serum guys.
Well, and then bringing Zemo in brings a whole new level, right? Because he's
Sure.
more in control than he is than physical. So,
Yep. Well, and that's going to be interesting because the main bad guy they've set up now are people that want to give Super Soldier Serum to people. Like, they're all super soldiers. And then whenever Zemo becomes more prevalent, we've seen from Civil War, Zemo's goal is to remove all enhanced people. So you've got one villain that's all about super soldiers, and then we're eventually going to get to another villain that's anti-super soldiers. So how is that going to play out with these 2 different villains?
all right. So next up, Trey, this is something that you and I talked about.
Yep.
It's my first trailer. November 12th this year. It was supposed to be June 11th of 2021, and then previously June of last year. It is the third movie, not the fourth movie, the third movie in this franchise. It is Ghostbusters Afterlife, because with the chicks did not exist in this universe as far as it looked like. Yeah, we are. This is something that looks really entertaining. Apparently, it brings back the three original that are still alive.
Yep.
It also brings Paul Rudd into the fold. It makes it about a bunch of kids who are learning how to become Ghostbusters, essentially. I'm pumped for this. Paul Rudd's really fun to do. And it's directed by Jason Reitman.
Isn't Judy Greer? Isn't Judy Greer the mother?
What?
Isn't Judy Greer the mother?
I think you're right.
I love Judy Greer. So you give me Judy Greer as a Spangler, and then you give me Paul Rudd as anything that Paul Rudd ever does. Like, I'm really excited about this movie. Like, yeah, I don't know 100%. The first trailer when it came out gave me a lot of Stranger Things vibes. Obviously, Finn Wolfhard is definitely like attached to Stranger Things, but the fact that they're moving this out to like Arizona, I think, and they're trying to play it up that this is where Egon Spangler like retired at, and this is his daughter and her children, and then them finding his like layer of Spangler Ghostbusters stuff is really cool. And then you throw in Paul Rudd, and it's just I'm very hyped for it. I'm very excited for it. The fact that Jason Reitman, who I love Jason Reitman's early work, like Juno and the George Clooney movie. What's that?
Didn't he do Thank You for Smoking too?
Thank You for Smoking, and then he did Up in the Air, I believe. Yeah. So Jason Reitman is a director that, in the early 2000s I admired. I really enjoyed a lot. Like, Thank You for Smoking is in probably my top 10 of all time, as is Up in the Air. Like, he's done a lot of movies that I really love the story and the characters behind them. The fact that he wrote and directed a movie that he claims made his dad cry is something special to me for, the lineage of Ivan Reitman down to his son now doing a sequel to Ghostbusters. I'm super excited for it. I have very high hopes. The trailer looks like a lot of fun.
Who's the grandfather? No. It was Reitman, right?
Yeah, Jason Reitman's dad is Ivan Reitman.
Sorry, I was thinking Carl Rayner.
Oh, Carl Rayner. Oh, I got you. Yeah. So yeah, I'm super pumped for Ghostbusters. Very excited for it. I'm down for watching it at a theater if I have to.
You have to listen to you're a whore.
If I can.
All right.
If I can.
All right. That's the 12th of November.
Okay. So that's like our pre-Thanksgiving movie.
Our November 19th. Jason's 41st birthday.
Your 41st birthday movie is
Mission Impossible 7 as of right now. So
and they're like filming 7 and 8 together. Or they were supposed to film 7 and 8 together.
Christopher McQuarrie is doing this one again. He's done the last 3, I think. He also did the Jack Reacher movie, the first Jack Reacher movie. I don't think he did the second one.
And his father is the artist from Star Wars, right?
I can't remember. Is it?
Oh.
I'm just going to say I believe you.
I'll look it up. Keep talking. Go ahead. I think his dad is the guy that does all the Star Wars promotional art.
Gotcha. I really have enjoyed the last few Mission Impossible movies. He's hitting on a level that makes them entertaining for me. They're not really Mission Impossible movies, as Shane has said in the previous past.
Yeah.
They're more action films that just happen to have a little bit of spy stuff in it compared to being actual spy movies. But would a spy movie really sell a lot of movie tickets?
Oh, wow. Christopher McQuarrie, do you know what one of his early directorial movies was?
Go for it.
The Way of the Gun.
Oh, yes. I do remember that.
I had no idea that he directed that. That is such a good movie. And he directed Top Gun Maverick.
Yes, he did. I didn't know that. He also, the Way of the Gun, in case anybody doesn't know, Ryan Felipe, and it's Benicio del Toro.
Yep.
And it's literally a modern-day Western. That's what it is. And it's
so good.
Good dialogue, and well done all the way around. A whole lot of our friend Mark really likes that movie. So I'm totally on board with that. This one sounds really interesting to me. We're moving on. Mission Impossible 7 I don't have much as far as what's going on with it, but this one sounds really interesting to me. December 3rd, we get the new movie from Guillermo del Toro, called
Guillermo del Toro? Wait, called what?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
Guillermo del Toro?
Guillermo del Toro.
Okay.
Directing December 3rd, a movie called Nightmare Alley. Listen to this cast: Bradley Cooper, Kate Blanchett, Willem Dafoe, Toni Collette, Richard Jenkins, Ron Perlman, and Rooney Mara.
I love Rooney Mara.
It's apparently a story that revolves around a manipulative carnival hustler who hooks up with a female psychiatrist who's even more dangerous than him. It doesn't have any specific release date, but a recent week it's coming out December 2021. So,
all right, let me jump back real quick. I've been wrong for years. Ralph McQuarrie is who I was thinking of.
Yes.
Ralph McQuarrie is from Gary, Indiana, which is awesome. He was born there in 1929. He died in 2012, but he was the one that did all of the Star Wars promotional stuff back in the day. I guess just because McQuarrie is such a weird last name, I assumed that they were related, but they're not. They have no relation to each other.
So then this is where it gets crazy, right? So here we are talking about Nightmare Alley. That's cool.
Yep.
It sounds like it's something that could be really interesting.
Yep.
Del Toro does some really weird stuff.
Nightmare Alley is what this is called?
Yep. The next thing that I'm seeing on the list here is West Side Story, directed by Steven Spielberg. It's supposed to come out December 10th. Me personally, when you have a classic movie, no matter when it is released, when it was made, there is no need to remake it. West Side Story, for when it came out in the 1950s and the 1960s, I want to say a movie with Natalie Wood was made in the late 60s, early 70s. I can't remember specifically. That's a movie that was, especially at that time frame, would made sense at the time. I don't think it translates very well to current times. I've seen a recent version, I saw a community theater version of it a few years ago, and my favorite part of it is America. The rest of the musical has some pretty songs in it, but the musical is very blah, and it doesn't flow very well. I'm worried that West Side Story, even directed by Steven Spielberg, who is literally easily my top 3 directors of all time, I don't think I'm going to really relate to this movie whatsoever. It's hard for me to do so.
I'm not gonna lie, I like the original West Side Story. We watched it in high school. I'm fine with the original one. In the same way that the original Romeo and Juliet, I'm fine with. I do enjoy Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet because it came out in '96 and it it had Jamie Kennedy and Leo and characters or actors I cared about in it and whatnot. But I enjoy and appreciate the original West Side Story. I don't need Steven Spielberg to give me a different version of it.
Absolutely. It's kind of like the Lion King, right? So 100%. The Lion King, the cartoon version came out in '94, is the best version.
Oh yeah.
I love that movie. It's not even my favorite Disney movie, but it literally, I don't think you can do a whole lot to make it better. I've seen the film version of it done by John Favreau, which is the CGI version, and I also watched, and I've seen the stage production of it. Both times, completely bored out of my mind because I liked the original so much and they didn't change it.
Yep.
So I'm hoping with this version of West Side Story, they can change stuff and maybe.
I feel you. I agree with you. Real quick, we need to jump back to July 16th real quick. There's a movie that wasn't on your list that you've got. Rebecca Hall, who is in Kong vs. Godzilla. Tonight, I saw a trailer for a movie that she's in called The Night House. And it is, it's... What's that?
You said July 16th?
July 16th, 2021. Searchlight Pictures is supposedly releasing a movie called The Night House. It was supposed to come out January 24th of 2020. Well, yeah, it premiered at Sundance, January of 2020. It was supposed to come out last year. Directed by David Bruckner and produced by David S. Goyer. I saw the trailer tonight, obviously, because it's a Rebecca Hall movie on a Rebecca Hall movie. The trailer's really weird. Rebecca Hall thinks that her husband commits suicide, and they have a lake house, and she claims that her husband rows his boat out to the middle of the lake and commits suicide. But then the trailer shows you that if you row all the way across the lake, there's a mirror of her house on the other side of the lake. And when she goes over there, she sees herself sleeping on the couch in the other house. And it's apparently some weird psychological thing of across this lake is a mirror of our universe or whatever. And I'd never seen this. I'd never seen anything about it, never heard about it. Until today, I'd never seen the trailer, and I was pretty hooked on it. It apparently is coming out on July 16th. The Night House is definitely a trailer worth watching. It's very creepy, and it looks like when you're on the other side of the lake, you can't actually see people from the other side. I don't know. It's very weird. Not something I need to watch in a theater. I'll watch it at home in the middle of the night sometime. I'm not going to go out of my way to watch this movie, but I'm intrigued by it. Also, I think Rebecca Hall is beautiful, so I'm excited to watch this. What's next on your list?
Next on my list was Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Oh, I can't wait. If this is a live action
MCU movies this year, what the hell, man?
If this is a live action Into the Spider-Verse, I can't even begin to explain how excited I am. If Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are both back for this, and Doc Ock is back, and Jamie Foxx is back, if they're really doing an Into the Spider-Verse with every Spider-Man movie Sony owns, I'm in. I'm all about it. I can't wait to see what happens. I hope this somehow connects. I always wanted a Doctor Strange connection at the end of WandaVision. I literally wanted Wanda to go so crazy that she shatters the multiverse, and that's what leads to Doctor Strange 2 and the new Spider-Man movie. I literally wanted Wanda to be responsible for both of those movies happening. Obviously, I didn't get that, so I hope that they do a Spider-Man live action Into the Spider-Verse with all of the villains and all of our previous Spider-Men and maybe multiple additional Spider-Men. Bring in some kind of Miles Morales or bring in whatever. Give me anything Spider-Man related and I'm all about it. I've loved the first two movies. I've thought they've handled Spider-Man very well, bringing him in and out of the MCU, so I have high hope that this is going to be the culmination of all of that.
I will agree. The first two with Tom Holland as Spidey has been awesome. And although I will say that Far From Home is probably one of the MCU movies I've watched the least.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's just not something that I've felt the need to go back and see more than once. But I'm happy to watch it again. It's not like I'm actively staying away from it.
But that was one when I first when it first came out and I bought the Blu-ray digital version of it. I probably watched it 4 or 5 times around the time that I first got it because I do really enjoy that movie.
Yeah, it's definitely entertaining. So, next up, entertainment-wise, the next week after Spider-Man No Way Home, we're looking at December 22nd as the release date. It's 3 days before Christmas, so it's probably going to be the huge dump that usually we get around Christmas time, where we get 5 to 10 movies.
Sure. Bicentennial Man was released, I think, December 22nd.
Probably.
What's going on?
The first one, or I'm just going to go through them, and then we can talk about what we're excited for, or whatever.
All right.
First one, Kingsman. So it's the prequel to.
Not coming out till December now?
Yeah, they pushed it back to December.
Ooh.
Matrix 4.
Okay.
Thing 2. And Sherlock Holmes 3 is what's on my list.
Wait, did you say Thing 2?
Sing?
Oh, Sing. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, animated DreamWorks movie of people singing songs from the popular pop songs.
I was off by 5 days. Bicentennial Man was December 17th of 1999. So I was off by 5 days.
Although, I have to say, Idina Menzel and Selena Gomez are both going to be in Sing 2.
Weren't they in the original? Like, I never saw the original, but I thought it had like a huge cast.
The original cast was pretty big. Matthew McConaughey comes back. Shawn Mendes is in it. John C. Reilly is in it. Reese Witherspoon, Nick Kroll, Scarlett Johansson. I want to say all of those were repeats.
Okay.
Also had Seth Meyers, who was in the original, and oh gosh, who was the guy who played Elton John?
Yeah. Tierno.
Yep. So he maybe he's not coming back. I don't know.
Yeah.
All I can tell is like I love listening to Idina Menzel sing no matter what.
Oh,
I've seen her concert multiple times. I've seen her perform in musicals a couple of times. I definitely I just love her. So I'm happy that she's getting some more work.
Sure.
I'm not excited about Sing 2 at all. Sherlock Holmes 3. You didn't like the first two a whole lot. I really enjoyed the first two. I thought it was kind of a cool way to go about things. RDJ is, I liked him a lot as Sherlock Holmes. Jude Law is Dr.
Watson?
Dr. Watson, thank you. Watson, thank you.
Let me ask you this, like, real quick, like, and you're going to get mad at me. Have you, it's now on Netflix, I'm pretty sure, have you given the BBC Sherlock any of your time?
I have not. I'll give you this. I'm not saying it's not good. It's just the fact that, like, here I can watch two movies that might take up 5 hours of my time total, or I can sit down and watch BBC and get completely immersed in a movie or a television show that's going to take up 40 hours of my life.
It won't. Every season is 3 episodes long, and each episode's an hour and a half. So there are mini movies, and each one of them is based on a different Sherlock Holmes book. So you've got like 9 books that it covers. And Reichenbach Falls, which is the end of Sherlock Holmes 2, the encounter at Reichenbach Falls is the season 2 finale of the show, and it's amazing. Like, I love Benedict Cumberbatch. I love Martin from Love Actually, and from Freeman. Thank you, Martin Freeman. I love him. The woman that plays Irene Adler in the movie or in the BBC series is absolutely phenomenal. I'm drawing a blank on her name, but like, and maybe it's because it's Guy Ritchie. Like, maybe if somebody else had done those 2 movies, like, I have nothing really against Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law. Like, I like both of them as actors, but their interpretations of Sherlock and Watson are just not enjoyable to me. And again, like, the BBC version modernizes it, so it's like Watson was in Afghanistan and has come back and is like trying to put his life back together, and that's how he gets hooked up with Sherlock Holmes via the British army after army people. Like, the BBC stories that they tell and like how close they are to the books, because I grew up reading the Sherlock Holmes books. And again, they modernize all of this. So you have a 120-year gap from when Sir Arthur Conan Doyle wrote them. The way they modernize them, I feel, is much better than the Guy Ritchie versions trying to still be in like the 1800s. Like, I just someday, and it's one of those weird things where like the first season, only 2 out of the 3 are good, and then when you get to season 2, only 2 out of the 3 are good. But the 2 that are good are the Irene Adler episodes, and they're amazing. And it just, I wish the Guy Ritchie movies would have been better. So I'm I'll watch this one, obviously, because obviously, like, they did Reichenbach Falls at the end of the second movie, and then Sherlock was still alive, which is what happens. So, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle wrote the book where Reichenbach Falls happens because he didn't want to ever write Sherlock Holmes again. So, he had Sherlock and Moriarty have a battle to the death, but because he never wanted to say that either one of them was better than the other, he had the two of them fall off of a waterfall together, and then he never told you which one of them won. Like, you're supposed to infer that they both died when they fell off this super high waterfall. Cool. So Arthur Conan Doyle didn't have to write any more Sherlock Holmes books for a long time. And then he got broke and decided, if I'm going to make money, I need to write some more Sherlock Holmes books. So, 20 years, 14 to 20 years later, he started writing Sherlock Holmes books again and was like, they both survived Reichenbach Falls. They didn't both die. And it's just like, I get it. So, like, this movie coming out so much later, like, I'll see what they do with the story, but I'm not excited about it.
Matrix 4, is this something that you ever wanted to see
Nope.
another movie for?
Nope. Not at all.
I don't even know what to say about this movie. Like, I'll watch it if we're
for sure.
open.
Yep.
If we're open, or if I have HBO Max again, if we're not open.
Yeah.
Like, I'll probably watch it. This is something I'd rather watch on the big screen than watch at home, for sure.
I'll agree with you on this movie.
I don't know if I'll pay to watch this movie in a theater, though, because, you've only made 1 out of 3 that were good.
Agreed. 100%.
Why am I going to see you make a continuation of the original series, make a 4th movie, and then I'm going to go, okay, am I getting the first movie? Are you doing a rehash of the first movie? Or are you doing some kind of sequel that I'm really not going to give a flying fuck about, like I did?
Yeah. I'm very curious to see how they modernize it, how they bring it up to modern society, if it's any more kind of a CG, how do I say it, like an alternate reality type thing like the Matrix was. Like, are they out of the Matrix now, or did the Matrix never actually die? Like, and Neo and Trinity are both coming back, and they both technically died. So is there somewhere that their consciousness are stored and they're rebooting them into new bodies? Like, I'm very curious to see where it goes with it. I'm not excited about it, though, is the problem.
Same thing with the Kingsman.
You're
making a prequel of how this whole thing got started, and I'm like, okay, they're fighting Rasputin, so that's kind of like.
And I love Ray Fiennes.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said I love Ray Fiennes. Like,
but it's not. Ray Fiennes is in it, but it's also it's the guy who played the crazy roommate in Notting Hill.
Rhys Ifans.
Yeah, he's playing
Rasputin. Yep.
Rasputin.
Yes.
And it's like so I'm interested enough, but it's not something where I'm like, this is not something I watched and I went, oh, that is exactly what I wanted.
I agree.
All to the Kingsman. I needed that.
Yeah, Ray Fiennes and Harris Dickinson.
Prequels suck most of the time anyway. So.
Yeah. August 20th of 2021. Yeah, I agree. What was I thinking?
Moved it to December 22nd.
They moved it to December? Okay.
Yeah, moved it for the Christmas weekend. So it's going to be an interesting time if we are open on how it'll be quite the busy time. There's lots of movies that appeal to a whole lot of people.
Okay.
The other problem, though, especially like looking at the Christmas release schedule, is how many of the movies are very much in the exact same demographic.
Sure.
Like, literally dumping a bunch of movies all at the same time that appeal to the exact same people. So here you are. Like, are these people going to spend 8 hours in the movie theater on Christmas, or are they going to watch one movie and then be like, I don't know when I'm coming back?
Here's the other thing. As you said earlier, the film schedule is fluid. So let's say by May, June, everybody does have their shots. And, I mean, again, I'm unfortunately one of those very negative people where I see that a lot of people in Europe are getting their shots, but their numbers are still skyrocketing because people get their shots and think that everything's okay, and numbers are still skyrocketing in Europe. What's to say? I mean, sorry, America's worse than that. Like I said, I was in Arizona and half the people weren't wearing masks now. Entire families walking around zoos not wearing masks. Like, that's not appealing to me. Like, what if our numbers start skyrocketing? But what if they don't? And a lot of these things that are scheduled for December now get pulled up to, oh, wow, September's really empty. Let's pull up 2 or 3 movies to September and 1 to October. And, I mean, who really knows anymore what the film release schedule is going to be? Anything after Christmas? No? So that's pretty much the rest of our 2021, huh?
Yep.
That's a lot of movies that I'm excited about, but they were movies I was excited about back in 2019 when they were coming out in 2020.
Yeah, but I mean, like we said, there's 4 movies that are coming out that are MCU. Like, literally, like that's a nerd's orgasm right there. So, like, where you got...
Is Doctor Strange is still this year?
No, that's next year.
Well, hold on. So what are our 4? Eternals, Spider-Man, Black Widow,
and Shang-Chi.
Oh, Shang-Chi. Oh, yeah, I forgot about Shang-Chi. Yeah, okay, yeah. That's 4 MCU movies.
It's gonna be crazy, man.
So my other question is the MCU going to be able to save cinema?
I don't know if it'll save cinema. It's definitely something that, well, you and I have talked about this off camera, I think, more so than on camera. The MCU literally lends itself, because of it being comic book material, to being a serial show where it can be a week-to-week thing. And it can be 6 or 7 episodes that are an hour each, instead of being a 2 or 3 hour movie.
Well, so let me interrupt you real quick. So let me ask you: have you been enjoying Falcon and the Winter Soldier? We're 2 weeks into that. Do you enjoy Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
It's fine. There's some friends of ours that really are enjoying it. I think it's just okay. And I don't think there's any. The best thing about it is obviously the 2 leads.
Oh, for sure.
Feed off of each other.
It's
really
Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, it is Lethal Weapon.
Yep.
Right. But for the most part, like, the story so far is just blah to me. It hasn't hooked me yet. But then again, it's going to be 6 episodes.
Yep.
We're 2 episodes in.
Yep.
You're probably going to do something that's kind of like a big one right now for this Friday. That's going to be like, oh shit, I need to watch the rest of this.
Sure. Well, and the funny thing is episode 2, going back to another franchise we just talked about, episode 2 reminded me a lot of the second Matrix film because they had the fighting on top of the moving trucks sequence.
Oh, okay.
When that happened, and the introduction of Bucky and Falcon to the U.S. agent and what's his sidekick's name? Oh crap, I can't remember either. Their introduction when they're all fighting the other super soldiers on top of the moving semis. When that first happened, I went, "Wow, I saw this in the Matrix too." Like, and it was a fine. It was honestly the only sequence of the Matrix 2 that I really liked, but it transitioned well into Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It starts with a B. I think his nickname starts with a B. Battlestar. Thank you. Yes. So U.S. Agent and Battlestar show up. I will not call him Captain America. I know his comic origin. I know that he ends up taking fake super soldier serum, becomes U.S. Agent, and kills a lot of innocent people because he's an asshole. I don't know if they're going to do that with the TV show. I hope they do. but we'll see. So, but you've only just kind of liked it so far?
Yeah, I just kind of liked it.
Gotcha.
I like the. I like the. Oh goodness, what is his name?
Isaiah Bradley? Wait, what? Isaiah Bradley?
Isaiah. Thank you, Isaiah. I like that they're bringing that aspect in, because it makes sense for what our government would do.
Sure.
Like knowing that they had no Steve Rogers anymore,
yep,
or whatever the case may be. So the Isaiah thing is kind of cool.
Well, and the thing is about that, like, you could get an entire spin-off series in the future of Isaiah Bradley. Like, you obviously can't cast the same actor because you'd have to cast somebody much younger and put him in the 50s, 60s, 70s. Like, you could show him evolving over the decades, but, like, well, I mean, I guess Isaiah Bradley in the MCU now has been in jail for 30 years. I don't know when those 30 years were, but you could essentially do an Isaiah Bradley 6-episode arc of, oh, here, like, because, you know, there's rumors going around that Chris Evans is going to come back as Steve Rogers someday, sometime. You could do a show with Isaiah Bradley and have Chris Evans as a very minor character in that, just being around and not being aware of who Isaiah Bradley really was. Like,
yeah,
it's possible, and that would be very interesting to see that dynamic.
So, we shall see, man. Like, Winter Soldier, Falcon and Winter Soldier is entertaining. Is there anything else coming out that's soon? I gotta say, Bad Batch trailer looks awesome.
Bad Batch trailer does, coming out May 4th, looks amazing. Yeah, I a huge Clone Wars fan. I know that you've watched it all also on Disney Plus or whatever. Really excited to see where they go with Bad Batch. Trailer looks kind of interesting. I'm willing to see where they go with it. It's a studio of Star Wars people that I trust. So even though the trailer looks interesting, like, I'm willing to see where they go with it. They've obviously got Grand Moff Tarkin involved now, so we'll see how that all works out.
Yeah.
The Obi-Wan Kenobi announced their cast in the last week. Their cast is absolutely amazing, bringing back a lot of people from the prequel series. Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, obviously coming back. Adira Varma was on the TV show Human Target, which I'm a huge fan of. She's done a lot of other bigger, more popular things, but that's what I know her from. And Human Target on Fox was amazing and deserved way more than one season. But Adira Varma is a British actress. Oh, Human Target, Luther, which she's amazing in Luther. Game of Thrones, Rome, which I've never watched, but I know was a big Showtime show, I think.
Oh my goodness!
What's up?
What was the show that you mentioned? Luther.
Yeah, have you watched Luther?
I watched the first season.
Man, yeah. The first season is just so good. And then Alice as a villain and how she comes back over the next 2 seasons is just so well done. Like, I'm a big fan. Like, Idris Elba is obviously awesome. We've seen the comedic version of Idris Elba where Idris Elba can do anything. That's a great skit. But yeah, Luther, one of the best British cop shows. It's up there with Life on Mars and what was the sequel? Life on Mars and the Genie. Ashes to Ashes. Both really good British cop shows that are absolutely amazing. What are you laughing about?
I was watching a show and I can't remember. Like my brain is blanking because you mentioned her and you mentioned Luther.
Yep.
Nelson. It kicked into my brain.
Game of Thrones.
Oh, it wasn't Game of Thrones. What the heck, man? I watched Fahrenheit 451.
Oh, the 70s movie?
No, it was a remake with Michael B. Jordan and Michael Shannon.
Yes, I have not watched that version of it, but I remember hearing about that.
That was kind of crazy and different. I never saw the original, and to read or to watch that movie version was kind of cool. I'm kind of stoked for that new Michael B. Jordan movie. That's the other thing.
No, the TV series.
That aren't even listed on this.
But Amazon is what you're talking about. The Amazon spin-off, Without Remorse?
Without Remorse, the Tom Clancy.
It's on Amazon because Amazon owns the rights to Tom Clancy's stuff because of Jack Ryan, yes. So Without Remorse will be very interesting to see if they cross those shows over.
Without Remorse, I thought was a movie compared to.
Oh, I thought Without Remorse was another TV series.
I think it's just a movie.
Oh, okay.
That looks interesting. Something else I watched the trailer for recently was Stowaway with Anna Kendrick.
Oh, I like Anna Kendrick.
It's also I can't remember.
It's a Netflix movie, right?
Yeah, it's a Netflix movie. It's basically like three people are going to Mars, and like a guy who was working on the space shuttle while he was on the platform. He must have got like knocked out or something, and he's like in a hatch that they never hooked in, essentially.
Okay.
And so they have 4 people on this trip to Mars instead of 3.
Ah.
So they only have supplies for 3, and so they're trying to figure out like basically they're going to run out of oxygen, and they don't have enough supplies for everybody.
Oh,
so
wow.
they're trying to figure out what they're going to do about that.
I need to watch that. You are correct. Without Remorse is a Amazon Prime movie. I don't know why I thought it was a series.
So totally stoked for that one. So.
I will say that in July we're supposed to get season 2 of Ted Lasso. If you can't tell, I have to throw a shout out to my wife real quick. I previously on multiple episodes have worn my Ted Lasso T-shirt that I bought because I couldn't find a Ted Lasso jersey. And so, I wore this on some other episodes. I was really happy with it. This week, after we got back from Arizona, my wife surprised me. She picked up a actual replica jersey from the show. It has Roy Kent on the back of it. Yeah, so I'm super stoked. I had to wear this tonight to throw shout outs to my wife. I'm very happy that she got me, because I'd always looked for a jersey and I couldn't find anywhere that had jerseys of the show. That's why I bought the previous T-shirt that I had. She ended up finding me this jersey. It's actual jersey material. I'm super stoked and happy about it. I had to wear it tonight because I was so happy. So I can't wait for season 2 of that. I can't wait to see where they go. I can't wait to see if season 2 is about them being in the second league or if it jumps ahead and they've already won the second league and they're back in the EPL. I think July 30th is when this show is supposed to start hitting Apple Plus again. I'm actually our friend Ryan Foster, which I worked for Gene Foster, his son, who I was friends with, hit me up about a month ago and said, "Hey man, thanks for talking about Ted Lasso nonstop because I finally started watching the show and I absolutely love it." He had watched 3 episodes the night that he sent me the text or sent me the message, and I was like, "Dude, episode 3 is my favorite episode. I'm happy you made it 3 episodes because that's the one that I love and it hooked me, and everything else after that is just butter in my opinion." But yeah, I'm very happy, and I know you've passed it on to your wife and some other people. It's a show I've probably watched 8 or 9 times now, start to finish, just because I'll turn it on and start watching it just to have something in the background, and 2 hours later I'm sitting and watching 2 or 3 more hours of the show. My wife will get off work and come in and be like, "Oh, you're watching Ted Lasso?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Cool." And she'll just sit down and we'll watch a couple of episodes together. it's just such an amazing show, and I'm happy that a lot of my friends enjoy it, and that we've been able to pass it on to other people.
Absolutely. Fantastic. I went to a function for church, a distant function for church, and ended up talking to one of the guys that I go to church with, and it was like, if you don't have Apple TV, sign up to get your week's free trial.
Yep.
And he looked at me and he goes, we already wasted our free trial. Or we already used, he didn't say wasted, he goes, we already used our free trial to watch Ted Lasso. And I was like, never mind. Exactly what I was going to tell you to do.
Awesome.
Did exactly what I was hoping. Apparently the show Invincible, the cartoon that's on
yeah. Yep.
is apparently really, really good. So it's something that I'm hoping to get into soon.
I agree. I want to watch it. It's Robert Kirkman, the guy that does The Walking Dead. It's actually a comic book that he did years before he ever did Walking Dead.
I was going to say, I knew Invincible from the comic book world.
Oh, cool.
I didn't read it, but I knew it existed.
So Robert Kirkman got to do this TV series version, but Seth Rogen owns the rights to make the movie version of Invincible. So someday we should see a movie version of Invincible. But yeah, Robert Kirkman got Amazon to do the animated version of it, which I'm interested in. It sounds cool.
Definitely. Something I want to get into. So.
I'm trying to think. We should have some Cobra Kai coming by the end of the year, hopefully. Stranger Things Season 4, I'm crossing my fingers, comes out by the end of this year. I'm a big Stranger Things fan, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Maybe the first 2 seasons. That third season was just, I didn't get into it as much.
Really? So. And I can understand that it's one of those shows that I just have to, like, the first season is the pinnacle of the show. Like, it's amazing where they're going now. It's like with Lost, or it's like with, I don't know, whatever other sci-fi stuff that I watch. Like, after the first season, you just kind of have to go with whatever they give you. Like, it is what it is. But yeah, I'm excited about Stranger Things. Hopefully season 4 comes out this year. But man, so we talked for like 3 hours with no script. Usually, I mean, if you don't know, usually I write a pretty meticulous script so that Jason and I can stay on, this is where we're starting at, this is where we're going, and when I start to veer off on tangents, Jason's like, come back to what the script you wrote is. And so we kind of have a pretty... it's not a script like word for word, but it's a chronological or
outline.
What's that?
It's chronological outline.
Yeah, it's an outline of where I think we should start and where we should go. And we obviously are tangent-y people. We go off on tangents about stuff, but this week we literally had nothing written, and it ended up being 3 hours long. So if you made it this far, I really appreciate it, because we've talked about a lot of random and crazy stuff. And as of this moment, April is still kind of up in the air. We don't really have stuff planned for April. May is 100% officially starting our themed months. We've got plans for May, June, and July, so that every week in those 3 months have a theme that we're going to go with. Summer blockbusters, Marvel movies, just careers of various people. So we've got that kind of planned out. April probably still going to be like Jay, our friend Jay that we talked about at the beginning when we were talking about The Crow. Jay put up a poll a week or two ago, and it had to do with who's your favorite assassin. So maybe in April we'll try to swing in the Who's Your Favorite Assassin podcast, or we'll figure something out for the next couple of months. Jason is yawning. We've obviously been talking way too late into the night. I'm on, I don't know, beer number 5 at this point, so I should probably call it a night. But Jason, like, this is literally what happens when you and I watch a movie together, or we're ever in the same location. We start talking, and it's 9 o'clock, cool. And then I get home at 3 o'clock in the morning because we just stand around and we go on tangents, and we talk about whatever movies or TV shows or anything that we're thinking about right then, and we just talk a lot. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you wanting to do an episode this week. I I mean, full disclosure, when you texted me and said, are we doing an episode this week, I said, I have nothing planned. So, I mean, unless you have an idea, I'm fine taking the week off. And you were like, let's talk about everything that's coming out this year that we're excited about. And I was like, I can definitely do that. Let's make it happen. Let's do an episode this week. So, yeah. No script. We just went with whatever we decided to talk about, and I like it. So we'll probably have an off-script chat in the future at some point if we can't think of something to talk about in a certain week. But yeah, I feel like May, June, and July we've got pretty well planned out. I'm excited to talk about those specific things and how they evolve over the weeks of what we talk about. And so we'll pick something for next week. We got lots of options. So I hope you had a good spring. Wait, are your kids on spring break now?
Nope, my kids' last day of school is tomorrow.
Oh.
Friday. It's all next week. I'm hoping we don't go back to the theater because my wife and I were thinking about doing a day trip somewhere. So
I think you should day trip to Cincinnati and tell my family when you're going, and we'll day trip to Hofbräu House and we'll do a live podcast from Hofbräu House.
I'm sure our wife would love the fact that we'd be sitting there talking about things. Well,
they can all hang out at a different table. You and I will go to our own separate table and we'll start. I'll bring my laptop and we'll just start recording over there. Or we go to Hofbräu House all together and we talk for 2 minutes on camera, and I just cut it at the beginning of our next episode.
Interesting.
But anyway, if you guys day trip somewhere, like, totally let us know. Like, that sounds like fun.
Yeah. When's Lily go back?
Lily's been back this week. Her spring break was last week, so
Gotcha.
make it a weekend thing, not this upcoming Saturday. I already have plans on Saturday night, but you got plans Friday night. I got plans Saturday night. Let's day trip over there on Sunday.
It could just be you and I.
I'm 100% on board with that. My wife would love to get me out of the house for any reason, so I'm not around and annoying her. So yeah, like, you and I should day trip over there because you will obviously be way more responsible than I will, and so you can be our driver.
Understood.
But anyway, so enough about that. So anybody that's made it this far and listened to this, thank you. We had a good time going off on tangents. It's long, and we'll be back next week with something to talk about. Have a good night.
Peace out.